Welcome, people. Blessed Sunday. Welcome again to the Nick and Dad podcast. Daniel Wagwan.
They are, no? They are. Now the Sunday, yeah. As a Chelsea
Yeah.
fan,
See,
can't,
uh,
can't feel,
can't feel
Talk
it down
about
this Sunday. Say, can't feel it down this Sunday.
can't feel it down.
Can't
Well
feel it.
energized and up.
People. We have a proper show for you guys. Welcome again, man. Thanks for tuning in back again to the Nick and Dan podcast. We're there again. Another Sunday, another day. Yeah, doing this podcast. I love it. But we have a very good show. Coming up as well. Discuss European football. But you realize that all around the leagues, the winners is the confirm already, and actually the Champions League is what keeping most of the leagues alive. The Champions League race, the European spots are still alive. And we're going to discuss a very very good topic about the Reggae Boyz segment as well. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that as well. But again, if you're watching back on the replay, we live here. So if you're watching it back later, tomorrow, whenever, thanks for tuning in. Remember, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we are streaming on both platforms, Daniel Football Show and actually Nicardo Media House. Yeah. Expect to have I guess, with us to, do some sorry people. Hold on there, cause yeah, drink some water, energize. Yeah. So supposed to have, one of our colleague, come on here to talk about, football in general and, to just to come on here and, give his opinion on the topics that we have today. Understand? But Daniel, we're here again, ready to talk about, European football, the Champions League race around the leagues, different leagues, the big leagues. This is what keeping us going at this moment. You could say probably, I mean, Napoli is leading, but that's where we go to start. Napoli, they are leading, Inter, yeah, 3 points. And you say Napoli have the more favorable games to win. Roma, what a comeback. The king of Rome, Claudio Ranieri, leaving it out with a bang. Um, what you expect? Look, Inter Milan and Napoli won, one day game over the weekend as well, 1-0. Inter Milan have rest so many players. Yeah, I give you something, people. Inter Milan, have rest. They made 10 changes. The last time Inter Milan made 10 changes in a game that they played in Italy, it was all the way back in 2015 in a Coppa Italia game. Yeah, Laturo Martinez, subject is going to out. Another marksman on the bench, Turam didn't feature in that game, versus Verona. Daniel Antonio Conte is in the driver's seat, can he lead this charge, the fourth Scudetto title in their cabinet? Or Inter Milan in the Zaghi can actually get over the line by Napoli a slip up. Even if Napoli, draw a game, it will still be 1 point. But would you like to see a playoff? Yeah, because both teams have the same exact head-to-head, 1-1 result home and away. Would you like to see a playoff for the title in Italy this season?
No. I think I think you have to keep it the traditional way as far
Yeah,
as goal scoring, who scored the most
yeah,
goal difference. You get what I'm saying? Because that's how it been.
yeah,
And I think you have to keep it that way. But I still think there will be more ups and downs,
yeah.
especially Inter have that Champions League tie in the back of their head. But I still see Napoli will pull through over the line because I
Yeah.
just feel like Conte we experienced enough and Imavach Lukaku McTominay is playing one of the
Mhm.
best midfield in Italy this season. So I still see I don't see Napoli losing two games
Genoa
straight.
next, away to Parma, home to Cagliari. I don't see them lose anything from there.
Yeah, I think
Inter,
they're gonna able to get over the line.
Inter away to Torino. They have Lazio, who is fighting for Champions League position, European position, and they play away to Como. Big up to Como. Cesc Fabregas leading that team in the top half of the table. What a fantastic job he's doing. Yeah, in Como. But Inter Milan, 1-0 win. Aslani scored. Aslani is 18 different scorer in the league this season. Yeah, for Inter Milan. No, 18 different scorer for Inter Milan this season. They share the goals. One thing I know, they're second, on that table behind Rennes in the French Liga, who have actually had 19 different scorer in Europe top five leagues. So um goals are coming all around, for Inter Milan, but their marksman, Latura Martinez, Daniel, there will be a lot of pressure on Turam if he cannot, or if he don't make that squad, coming up in a few days from now against Barcelona.
Yeah, I think he's really gonna be missed if he don't make it back in time. Hopefully, he can make it back in time because I think that him and Turam up top is
Yeah,
really have that connection. And you see, even Turam wasn't fully fit, and you see the trouble that he did to Barcelona in that game. So having Martinez fully fit, ready to go in the San Siro, it's gonna be a really good game. I can't wait for that match. So hopefully he can make it. But yeah.
yeah. But look, Atalanta, is right behind Inter Milan on 68. Juve, they play that game. I was watching that game. They drew against Bologna. Bologna came back in that game. They are on 63 points. Roma, coming from what? From Claudio Ranieri took over. It was a 4-point gap between them and relegation. No, he's in the top five. Yeah. When they won that game earlier, versus Fiorentina, they were in the top four before a ball was kicked, versus Juve and Bologna. Now we dropped down to fifth on 63 points, tied on points with the old ladies. Capital rival Lazio actually, on same points as well. I was watching that game. It was a nasty game early in the morning versus Empoli, red card flash left, right, and center. But they're right there in the mix in the Bologna as well. The start that they had this season, you will say, should they have, been here at this point? I would say no, including playing Champions League football, losing, key players. They're on 62 points, and it go down to Fiorentina, who will be hosting Real Betis, yeah, in Florence coming up on Thursday as well. And Milan, what's going on? But Daniel, if Milan go on to beat Bologna in the Coppa Italia, they will get that automatically qualifying spot for the Europa League, and it will, the Europa League trickle down position will trickle down to the seventh, yeah, and that will probably be Fiorentina if they manage to stay in that, or Bologna, which one of them will stay in seven. So Bologna and Fiorentina be hoping that, no, yeah, it is Bologna, because Bologna is in the Coppa Italia as well. So they hope that Milan can actually get something from that game in the Coppa Italia. But moving on, the La Liga race, kind of a bit stagnant, but we have to talk about this one, the game that played in the Santiago Bernabeu yesterday. What the hell was that game? What the hell was that game? Versus Celta Vigo, after 3-0 up, the same issues, Ancelotti and the Magee boys are having, yeah, all season long. Players are not running back, players are not tracking back, players, is just minding their own business, doing whatever they need to do. Daniel, seems like something is wrong in the dressing room, like the wheel is falling off at the Bernabeu.
No, I think Ancelotti kind of get it wrong. I think if you I didn't watch that game, but I watched the highlights and my virgin that when Ramajed told me about the game.
Yeah,
He told me that they were accusing, they were playing good in the first half, they were leading
yeah.
3-0, and then Ancelotti make a couple changes. He take off Insensio. You
Asensio,
get
yeah,
you get what I'm saying? And he said like, why is he taking off a defender? We not playing Champions League. We only trying to go for the La Liga. Why we making defensive change? And he said that once they make that defensive change, they start to struggle. And that's when Celta Vigo come back in the game. You get what I'm saying? I think Ancelotti is out of his depth.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? I think he's a legend. He did a really good job at Real Madrid, but I think it's time for him to step aside. You get what I'm saying? So I think at this moment, Real Madrid just have to pray that Barcelona drop any points, but the El Clasico is coming this weekend.
yeah. This weekend, I think the La Liga season, we will know what will be happening here going forward in the La Liga season in the next weekend. If Real Madrid can get, it will be such a a devastated result, for Barcelona. If Real Madrid can pull off that 3 points, away, it will be one of the most surprising result of for a long time in a El Clasico game. But that defender that Ancelotti brought on, it was his seventh defender playing this season. His name's go by Jacobo Ramon, the 20-year-old, and the Real Madrid fans actually calling for a lot of Castillo player to come to the door as well, like what they Xavi have done a few seasons about with the La Masia, bringing through so many young kids. That kid, I don't remember his name, but he scored on Real Valladolid, El Phenomenal team, owned by Ronaldo. When they came from 1-0 down, Rafinha, he's just like, he just cannot put a foot wrong, once Lamal came on the pitch and actually Rafinha, it was a total different game. And they just took the game and they run it and they grabbed 3 points. And it's all about if Real Madrid can crawl back, the La Liga race with 1 point with a few games left. Let's see. But again, moving on. Daniel, the big one. The big one after weekend. Harry Kane have won his first major title. And he wasn't even in the game.
He almost did it. You almost have to wait one more week after they battle it
Oh
yesterday,
my
and
God.
Leverkusen just give it up today. You get what I'm saying? But congrats to Harry Kane. It's been a long journey. You get me? I
Mhm.
used to, as a Chelsea fan, that used to beat up Tottenham all the time and win trophy off of them, and you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying, So since he moved to Bayern Munich, I'm a Bayern Munich fan. I'm very happy for him. Congrats to him, and hopefully he can start with more. I think Bayern Munich need a Champions League. You get what I'm
Mm.
saying? But congrats to not
This
just
summer,
Hurricane.
this summer, Hurricane will have a release class of £63 million.
Uh
Who will
I
gamble
would
on
have take
Hurricane?
I would have gambled with him. I think Chelsea need a striker. I think
Tell me
Jackson.
two clubs that you think will be that Hurricane might be available to join, except Arsenal, because that's a lot. I mean, he came through the Arsenal as an Arsenal fan,
Yeah.
but
I think
I don't see him join Arsenal.
no, I don't think him join Arsenal. I think United normally get Tottenham players, but I don't
Yeah,
see United going down that road. I
anymore.
think United trying to go young. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But I don't know. I really don't know.
I think
Maybe
if United get Champions League, maybe they will have a shout. Maybe.
yeah, but I just feel like Jim Radcliffe want to bring in this young, this young philosophy, just like how he saw Chelsea trying to
Yeah,
bring in young players. I just don't
yeah,
see United go down that road again with old players, and Harry Kane gonna demand big contract. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I don't know. Maybe Newcastle, if Newcastle can get
yeah.
Isaac, maybe if they
Yeah,
put up Isaac for
maybe
sale, yeah,
that will be like Alan Shearer coming to
yeah,
Newcastle. That would be
yeah.
such a Andy Cole joining Newcastle in the 90s. That would be
Because
a
I think Kane
fantastic
have
signing.
him have job to finish in the Premier League. I think he still want to get
Yeah, I
that.
think that record. I think who wouldn't want to be on that record in a meeting? I mean, look, Alan Shearer hold the record. Why not go to Newcastle and try to get that record? It would be such a fantastic record to break. But the Champions League race in the Bundesliga is heating up. Dortmund. I remember Dortmund was around in 14th position at one time, Daniel. It's crazy. They thump up Wolfsburg over the weekend as well. But yesterday as well, that game was a really fantastic game, but they 1 point, yeah, outside of the Champions League spot. Leipzig, because they drew that game, they fell behind Dortmund at this moment. So it's Champions League spot is all over Europe right now, where a lot of teams is fighting for their life, fighting for that big money, yeah, fighting for that money to get in next season as well. But Hurricane helped, the Bundesliga champion. What is that? The 13 or 12 in the last 13 years? That's
13 in the last
oof,
12 years.
12 in the last 13 years.
Yeah.
Oof. Hurricane, man, such. Hey, you know how much I think Rangers have won, I think, 50 plus league title already. Let
Right.
me look at it. I think there was an Old Firm derby this weekend as well, where Celtic said they would not give Celtic the God of Honor. That game, the game draw 1-1, at the Ibrox. But the league is done and dusted right there in Celtic, but in Scotland. But moving on, people, moving on to the Premier League segment where Arsenal fans have a bittersweet moment right now. They're having a bittersweet moment where it's like they still expect Arsenal to be doing something, in the Premier League. The last versus Bournemouth, I thought that was a very good game. I thought Bournemouth, find back their form that they had between the period of December and you would say until the first couple of weeks in March. And it was a fantastic result. Arsenal, they having a dreadful time at the moment. Very, very poor in a form. You did saw some reports, fans calling, Raya the inverted goalkeeper.
Arsenal fan. Joel, how are you there?
But the surprise though, as Arteta have started so many key players in that game, included Partey, who missed the game as well.
To be honest, no. I think they were Arsenal was really good in the first half, and I don't know what the wheel fall off in the second half. You get what I'm saying? And I think that really down to Arteta. Kind of. I don't think he invests over the this season. I don't
Yeah,
think he invests properly. I think he have been very stubborn. You get what
yeah,
I'm saying? I think Arsenal. I think everybody, every rivals, everybody know that Arsenal need a striker. They need someone who can. Sometimes when your team the match is very close, someone
yeah.
who can win a
But
game.
I think it's more than a striker is the problem. I think he's trying to play too much of a video game with the players on the touchline, using a controller, trying to control every single movement that the
Yeah,
players make. I just think it's a little bit too more robotic,
yeah,
where he's trying to analyze. I think too much details is he's trying to make during the process of the game.
yeah,
Sometimes you just need to just relax on the touchline and look a bit too animated, like but
yeah.
even Pep Guardiola at times, take a seat and relax. But I think Arteta is just over, the tactics
Over
too.
coaching.
Yeah, I think he's
Cause
coach.
let's be
That's
honest, Arsenal was really good to watch the last
and
two
it just get
years.
boring.
You get me?
Not even the 2 years, Daniel. Even when Wenger struggled, Arsenal play excited
They
football.
play they want to play the most exciting football, the most sexy football they call it. And I don't know what happened. I think Arteta started to overcomplicate things. And I kind of see the little similarity with Enzo Maresca. Chelsea start off the season good, free
Hmm.
flowing, and then after that will become this very pedestrian and slow and so I
Yeah,
think Arteta I think that Champions League tie with PSG,
yeah.
I think if he don't able to get that result, I can see Arsenal fans them gonna want him to be out.
Yeah, because Arsenal a lot of Arsenal fans can relate to this, that Arsenal as a team at home, they're playing very poor this season. They more look like a team that know to control the football, when they playing and in away games. And this season, Arsenal, they have got 12 overall clean sheet in the Premier League. They're third, the keeper is third on that list. Yeah. But at home, they got 6 clean sheet at home in the Premier League this season. And their
Yeah,
last 4 game, yeah, their last 4 game at home, they winless. They winless. You understand? And their last 3 games came all at home, draw with Crystal Palace 2-2, last in the champions against Paris Saint-Germain, and now last this one versus the Cherries. So a little bit of concern, but the preview of the game that will come up in a few days from now, Paris Saint-Germain, they lost on the weekend. Your affiliate team beat them away. Strasbourg, what a wonderful job. Again, the Englishman is doing. Liam Mercenaire with that team. They right up in the mix for Champions League spot in the French Liga. But the big news coming out from the Equipe, yeah, about Dembele right after that game, that is doubtful for the next leg of the Champions League in Paris. Dembele returned to training over the weekend for the first time since that game played at the Emirates. Um, I think it was a commentator curse because the commentators were talking about the games that Dembele missed during his time at Barcelona.
Yeah.
No, he's been more consistent. You getting the best out of him, and boom, he went down with a muscle injury. But crucial talks, Partey is back, Dembele is doubtful. What's your thoughts going forward in previewing that Champions League game?
At Arsenal, go. No, but seriously, I think PSG, even if Dembele don't play, I think PSG will have enough. I think they can bring up Barcola. They have Ramos. It's that
Mhm.
strike that they can play through the middle. You get what I'm saying? So I just still think PSG gonna have enough for Arsenal. You can see that Arsenal does not really otherwise on Saka, which I think PSG gonna double up on him than and done that wing. If you see in the last game, they double up on him. But
Yeah,
otherwise than him going through the middle, who's gonna score? You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? And PSG is gonna dominate the ball. Arsenal, I don't think Arsenal is good enough threat with set piece like what they used to because they're
yeah.
missing Gabriel. I think
And but they
Gabriel,
still they still score the most set piece in Champions League this season still.
yeah, but they have not. They I don't. Since Gabriel injured, I don't see them scoring from a corner. Maybe
That's true. I think
I take away the free kick.
he's the biggest threat in that set
Yeah,
piece era for
take
them.
away the free kick that the Rice scored the other day. You think Arsenal? I never once think Arsenal would have scored from the corner what they used to.
I think the deliveries are on point, but
Yeah.
there are not enough players at attacking that football.
Or maybe team kind of find them out and find out how to defend against them because remember their corner routine is different from everybody.
Paris Saint-Germain this season in the French League, they are the worst team defending corners.
Mm, yeah,
So yeah, they are the worst team. Not saying a lot of corners scored on them, but defending corners and win that first ball, they are the worst team in the French league this season.
yeah.
And a lot of that was talking in that game when Arsenal was taking out a set piece. But I think with Paris Saint-Germain, rest a few players. Vitina played in that game with the Strasbourg. I think Ruiz played in that game. I just from that, not much real quality, first team players that normally start, played in that game. But I think it would be a very, very good game. But if Arsenal, if Declan Rice can, do what he did, in that game at the Bernabeu, I think maybe Partey is that shackle right now and Declan Rice. Just release him. So, you could see the next side of Declan Rice. And I think running with the ball is excellent. I think he's one of the best in the Champions League this season, driving with the ball forward. And I think, Martin Odegaard, I think, if Arsenal are going to get something from this game, he's going to have to be a lot more tougher going forward. Yeah. I think in the big games, he kind of a little bit shy away. A lot of people might say, he's not having that vocal point up front where, those little slit acute passes, behind the defenders. He like to play those, but there is no number nine target that will give him that forward run. Everything is square, stagnant, going backwards, move to Saka, is it a Martinelli but first goal is important. If they can get that first goal, Paris, they will be chasing the game the entire
That
90
and
minutes.
that venue part de France is very
Is
hostile.
very
And,
hostile. Yeah.
yeah, and I could see PSG if PSG get the first goal, I could see Arsenal crumble. I just
Yeah.
don't see because I don't look at Odegaard as someone to bring his team. You get what I'm saying? And I just see them go ahead. PSG go ahead first. I just
Yeah.
could see a very long way to go. Yeah.
Um, my team, United scored first at the G Tech, lost that game, 4-3. We will say all eggs in the basket for that second leg, at Old Trafford. But I just want to say just this, when I was watching the game, was detailing the game, and when I was looking at it, yeah, Daniel, and I was like, United teams have improved in patches. I see the defenders, the back three, right? The back three where they they actually timing their run and when to step up. You remember that United the back three was a lot of space between the left center half, the right center half, and the wing backs. There's a lot of space, to
Yeah.
players to run in. Not seeing much of that now lately, but the team have making bad decisions. See me, but look at small details of patch that maybe you will say, hey, if United can get the right pieces, if they can get preseason under their belt, Amaran could go free his mind, get a real goal scorer, someone that can contribute with Bruno Fernandes, get that midfielder. I think going forward he can get the job done, but I think too much are too many inconsistent defenders that players come one go. Luke Shaw came back, Dilly gone back. Just days ago he just returned back to training. So let's see what's going to happen. But United, though, that was a very, very big result, in Bilbao, in the Basque country. United versus Spanish teams, they don't have the best result. I've got the stats right here where they said United, versus Spanish teams since 2000. Yeah, 56 game, 1.25 per game. Yeah, 17 wins, 20 defeats, goals against, what is this? Goals for against 7-1 and 13 times got eliminated 13 times got eliminated from for against Spanish opposition. And again, I remember even when Sir Alex Ferguson was a coach, we played a first leg, I think, in Old Trafford, and we went away to Bilbao, and in Monahin kick us right in our face, knocked us out. What we got, I think we were in the Champions League that season, and we went down out of the group stage, and
Yeah.
we got pumped in our face. But your assessment on that game, 3-0 up, big performance from United. Even when they got that red card, United still struggle at times to play the football out, still struggle. I don't know where people see that United control the entire game, but if that Inaki Williams header went in first 50 minutes, 1-0 down, it would have been chaos, because even Bruno said that atmosphere, yeah, that atmosphere was second to none. It was so electric. Yeah,
Yeah.
but your thoughts on United going forward in that second leg versus Atletico Bilbao?
I think that tie is over. As much as United have been poor, I still see. I don't see Bilbao scoring 3 goals and United don't score at least 2-1.
Yeah,
Again, as much as United has been poor, I just think it's gonna be too much. I didn't watch that game, but I just think that it's gonna be too much. Watching United this season, there might be ups and downs, but I still see United gonna put two past Bilbao. Even if Bilbao score 4 goals, I still see United score at least 2. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because
yeah,
they have Bruno, Bruno is quality and he's there. You get me? He can come up with something out of nowhere. You get what I'm saying? So I think Bilbao losing that much in the first leg is too much of a tie. Ultra
yeah.
third, you get what I'm saying? And
It
and,
would
and
be rocking coming
yeah,
Thursday.
yeah. I just don't see Bilbao get back in that game at all.
Yeah. Before I go any further, we have to big up coach, big up Coach Jin, Coach Jin in the building, people. This man, responsible for, our development coming up through as a youngster, at Mahavali. Big up Chin. Yeah, big up Coach Chin again. I understand.
I'm
Anything you
that
have to say?
D&A football.
Huh?
I'm that D&A football.
Nah, Coach Chin. Hey,
Where's
Nick and Dan, Coach Chin.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
You have anything that you want to say to Coach?
Yeah, man, big up yourself, coach. You don't know. There, the man who start the growth
Yeah.
for both of us football, knowledge football wise, you get me? So very much appreciate that, and want to big up yourself.
Try to teach us about of trying to, support Argentina. That will never happen, Coach.
Me still love Riquelme now. Riquelme and my boys, regardless, you get me? Yeah, man.
I will never support the Albi Celeste. Never. But Tottenham will travel away, to Bodø/Glimt and that artificial turf. 3-1 down. I think this tie, that goal that Bodø/Glimt got, yeah, that could go 3-1. I think that's a very, very good goal for them. And I think going forward, they have only lost one game. You understand? They have only lost one game. Daniel, is this ties over going north of the pole in Norway on the AstroTurf? We saw Olympiacos, we saw C20, we saw Lazio, all these teams went there and failed. They only lost one games this season. And then put to context, their season just started. They just played 4 games. They played on Thursday. They don't play any game. They suspended their game on the weekend so they could get enough rest for that game coming up on Thursday. Is that game finished?
Don't know with this Tottenham team. You see what I'm saying? The Tottenham team, my God, they must drive their fans crazy. But I still think Tottenham will be able to get to. I think Tottenham have too much quality.
Tottenham United final in Bilbao?
Yeah, I think Tottenham United. I think it's gonna be an all English final.
Yeah.
But I think Tottenham will still able to go over the line.
Yeah.
But then again, but we need to talk about the European competition this season, because look where United and Tottenham is in the Premier League, struggling this season, having a horrible season in the Premier League, and they're about to be in the Europa League final. You get what I'm saying? What does that say comparing to the leagues over the in Europe? Because Tottenham and United is a very poor team. They're nowhere in the top half of the Premier League. You know what I'm saying?
But is that speaks of the quality of the teams in the Premier League that they're coming up against?
Yeah, I think that speak quality in the Premier League, and that does speak of the quality of the rest of the leagues in the world. But some would say the Premier League have the most money, have the most views. You get what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I think that's gonna be a very good final. And I wouldn't want the other team go. I think the gap between those other teams and United and Tottenham, even though both teams having such a poor season, but they look at the players, all these players on Tottenham and United, these are international players for top countries. You get me? So I think Tottenham and United will be in the final.
Yeah. Chelsea, big victory over, the league titles, that won the 20th league title last week, beating Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea, making it such a competitive race for the Champions League. Manchester City, 3 points behind Arsenal. Yeah, let me say that again. City is having one of their worst seasons, and they are 3 points behind Arsenal. What does that say, about the rest of the league? What if this team did manage to win at least, 4 of those games that they just throw away like that, and they didn't turn up in those games? What if they got, 9, 12 points in the past? What kind of title race it would have speak? So the quality of a coach, the quality of the players, I have to say, City is doing a really, really good job, to be honest, Daniel. But Chelsea will play, that. Where that team came from?
I think it's from Sweden.
Yeah, I think that's from. And you guys play the Polish team, right? And last what? Liga Warsaw.
Yeah.
You guys play. So Chelsea, next game will be, it's a tough one away at St. James's Park. That will be a very good one. Someone said to me that Arsenal will never win the next game for the rest of except that last game versus Southampton. They have PSG, Liverpool, and Newcastle, and then square off with Southampton. What?
Southampton have been a very bogey team for Arsenal over the years. If
come on, Daniel. Come on, Daniel. Come on, Daniel. Just 2 wins of the season. Just come on.
Southampton have been a very bogey team for Arsenal.
They're just 2 points. They're just 2 points. I'm not being one of the worst Premier League team from Derby County.
Arsenal fans, they hate going to Southampton. They have been a very, very tricky team for them over the years.
Come on, but Daniel, moving on, and let me just get big up to the people them in the comment section. Big up Father Bling, Nick and Dan, blessings. You understand? Big up DNA and the building. Tottenham being knowledgeable to give away games, so it's very tricky. I think if Tottenham did win that game 3-0, you always say it ties over. But with Bodø/Glimt, 2 of their players, the captain, and Berg, the goal scorer, both players were missing because of suspension, and those players will be back. So let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be a very, very tricky game. You understand? But the atmosphere that they can, bring to the Tottenham fans in Norway, that will be something to look out for. Man, you check out of the league from about late January, so it's hard to judge their league. No, I'm not really judging, but I'm just saying,
No,
I'm
you
just
gotta
looking.
judge them. I'm sorry. The Premier League's the bread and butter.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You
yeah.
gotta judge
Uh,
them.
no, I'm saying I wasn't judging them. I wasn't judging them. I
No,
was
you have
just
to
saying
judge
in
them.
patches they were getting a little bit better. In
Yeah.
patches, small patches,
No,
not big patches.
no, you must say, yo, check out. You can't check out in the Premier League. You get
Uh,
what I'm saying? You can't check out in the Premier League, me see. You have to
uh,
turn up. Them man get paid, huh?
all right,
So you
yo,
tell me, say, you
consider.
got your work and you check out? No, man,
All
you have to check
right.
in, man.
All right. So, people, we're gonna talk about Kadija Bonisha, and we have to get in this one because I don't know what is really going on. It's not the career that is happening now for Kadija Bonisha. She have what 4 or 5 seasons now at Manchester City. It's not the season that we expect. Start off this podcast last year. When the season just a start, we were saying like the first time City is going to play in the Champions League. I'm getting into that stage where they got out of the qualification round, get into the group stage. They beat Barcelona in City as well. You know, I mean, they have a very tricky group. I think they have that Swedish team, Amari. She got accused, got racial abuse, something true on her. They have another Austrian team that they played. She got racial abuse. So ups and downs, Daniel, injury. It's been a massive injury hit for Kadija Bonisha. She only featured since the season started, she only featured for 1 or 2 games for the Reggae Girls. And that was against South Africa at home when we played those 2 games in Mobile. But other than that, she been out of it, injury. What do you expect? Because since she signed for City, I think from Bordeaux, 2021, mine serve me right. She only won one trophy, and that was in the first season when they won the League Cup. Yeah, Chelsea is the dominant team now in the WSL, 6 consecutive league title. Arsenal would play Leon, no, not Leon, Barcelona in the Women's Champions League. They're the only English team to win that Women's Champions League that back in 2006 and 2007. So City is or not saying a hurry come up team, but it's a newly built women team that just started getting a quality player. We saw them sign, the player from Arsenal, the Dutch player, Madema, one of the top scorer in the WSL history as well. So moving forward, they gave her pieces, but her body let her down. She's still the top scorer for the club. But when you look at United beat them, earlier today, knocked them out of the Champions League race, you know, let me hold my point so I can, get my colleague in. People, just 1 second. King, bless up yourself, bless up yourself. So we're talking about Kadija Bonisha, the poor season that the club is having. Terrible, terrible season this season. We saw, they went through changes in their managerial. They went for Nick Cushion, sorry, the former NYFC, coach, someone who have a contract same within the City group. But Daniel, I want to get your thoughts. Kadija Bonisha have not, complete that league title as yet, not getting that, that stature of complimentary about, getting that other side over, just get that hump over Chelsea women team. It's very difficult and not manage to stay fit this season. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts on her, I think it'll be very, very disrespectful to City to say, oh, she need to start looking for a move, which I think the City team have didn't able to get in the Champions League spot this season, but she have a very good season, she played 22 games and scored 19 goals and 2 assists overall. A very good season. You get what I'm saying? But if there is teams that are looking for a striker on the striker market, I think she would be up there. But what is the ambition with this City team? Like, do they think they have enough to challenge Chelsea, Arsenal? Do they think they have enough? And it's not the same as the main team, because the financial is a little bit different. They can't just push money into it and just buy any players. I get what I'm saying. So, but overall for she have a good season. Her injury kind of slow her down a little bit. You get me? But hopeful she can kick on and start to be consistent, staying on the pitch. You get what I'm saying? But I think I would love to see she playing for Chelsea. You get what I'm saying? But I just don't.
But you
I,
signed the Colombian. You signed the Colombian for like
I think Kadija. I
500,000.
think Kadija finishing wise is much better. I think she have our own game is a lower. I'm not being biased because I'm a Jamaican, but I watch her and I watch Colombia. I
So you
think
say Kadija? I know Kadija is better than Ramirez, but I'm
yeah, I
just
think
saying you have a very
no,
good
I
striker.
just know I'm just speaking hypothetical. I know Chelsea not gonna go on and buy her, but I was love. What I'm saying is I would have loved to see her in a better team because I just see her get into a better team like a Arsenal or a Chelsea. I just see she going to another level because she's gonna get a lot of chances. Because when you're
Yeah,
playing for the best team, you're gonna get a lot of chances coming your way. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Maybe when she's playing for City, maybe one and two, but Chelsea, Arsenal, the best team, Barcelona, these teams that have the ball most of the time, creating chances after chances. I could see she get to another level, scoring more goals.
Well,
But yeah,
well, Chelsea just signed Ramirez after the Women World Cup. Arsenal just signed Russo from United as a striker. So I don't see her go to none of those clubs. Anything else are probably outside of England. But
yeah,
King, since she signed, 2021, her contract will expire next year. And then after that, it will be the other year after that will be World Cup in Brazil. It's going to be important to see for her to check where she's at, going forward. Is it the time to change club? Because going to a crucial season where after next season finish, 2025, 2026, it will be the World Cup year for them. You know, 104 games, 88 goals. Since she signed for City Women Team King, no one have scored more goals than her since 2021. What's your take on the devastated, season that Bonisha is having, and what you think will be her future with 1 year left back on her contract?
Bless up to everybody. Yeah. And I hear me well, right? Bless
Yeah,
up.
man,
Yeah.
loud.
Nicola, bless up Dan. Big up on yourself, Daniel. Big up
come
to
on,
everybody in
respect.
the comment section as usual. Bless up to everybody with there. Been a follow the show. We have a look at technical difficulties joining it, so you don't know. But we're there now. Bonisha. Taking a look at Bonisha's stats, because the truth is I'm not an expert of the women's
The top.
game, but
Yeah,
as usual, as an all rounder as I am, I
yeah,
don't know we're gonna know a bit and we can look
yeah,
at the stats. The first thing that jump out to me looking at the stats is she's joint leading goal scorer right now in the league. But if you take a look at her games to goal ratio and normal, 12 goals from 14 games. And throughout her career at City, 21 goals, 18 games last season, and the season
yeah,
before 20 goals in 22 games. Them numbers there are Messi numbers, Messi and Cristiano
yeah,
numbers of the women's game. So I'm not a joke thing, and a boy thing. When you talk about Kadija Bonisha, you're talking about one of the best in the female game right now. Honestly, in the women's game, are one of the best. Now, as it relates to her injury, and the stop start, because you spoke about the incidents that took place with her as well,
the
and it's
ratio.
just unfortunate. In my opinion, it's unfortunate we haven't seen Bonisha in a Jamaican shirt in a while as well. So a lot of unfortunate incidents are going on with Kadija Bonisha, but in regards to that happens in football sometimes. We just don't want it to continue going into next season because looking at the stats again, I'm not sure it's showing that she is actually injury prone, but
Yeah,
something where we don't need for a follower because last season she played what 20 games, which is almost all of the games
yeah,
right?
yeah.
21 games. So it's not that she's injury prone. It's just that these things happen and we just
It's
don't
just
want
this
it to
season.
continue happening. Yeah, it's just this season. So you don't want that continue happening. For me, I did a video on Liam Bailey and if him curse, I need to go wash off. Khadija need to find out what go on with her. And if she need to find up a St. Thomas or St. Mary, Bonisha do the right thing because
Yeah,
as such a great legend, we don't want this to follow her over her career. But um, I have no doubt her quality speaks for itself. She just needs to be
yeah.
fit. Once she's out there, I think she'll bounce right back. Because honestly, to me, she's easily top 10 in the women's game, and you
I would
can
say
narrow
top
it down
five.
to
I would say top five.
top
She's a,
five.
like top five's number 9. She's in that. I
Top
think so.
five, number 9, or top five in
Yeah.
the game
No,
overall.
top 5,
Yeah,
number
yeah.
9.
Wouldn't
Number
you
9.
wouldn't you
Okay.
wouldn't you say because she's come from Jamaica, she don't really get
Definitely,
that
definitely, Daniel.
highlight
That's a
because
good
I
point.
feel like if she's from Spain,
Yeah,
Brazil, I think she would have been on the market for one of these top clubs. You get what I'm
definitely,
Yeah,
saying? I think
definitely.
like some they talk about Sam Kerr and she's from Australia. They talk about she a lot. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think unfortunately we Jamaicans are very small market. You get what I'm saying? So she doesn't really get as much big up in the
yeah,
media.
yeah. That's a very good point right there, Daniel. Because if you look at the players that Barcelona try to sign, it's always from the top European teams, or they go for like look at Cindy Caicedo. That's her name, the Colombian winger that played in the women team. She signed for
Yeah,
Real
Kai
Madrid.
said.
Yeah, she signed for Real Madrid. Such a promising female coming out of Colombia. If you follow the women's league, you will be hearing about Caicedo build up throughout the World Cup. We played against her, so you could see she's a quality, but I just don't think if Kadija Bonisha think leaving City and go to Real Madrid will be a big mistake because they're going up against another big fish that's Barcelona, someone that they score like almost literally 100 league goals almost every season. You understand that the biggest and the best is right there. So it's a small. The women's game is a small market, and I must say with her dominate the French league by playing for Bordeaux. That speak volume on her quality. Bordeaux is a small minority, a club that represent in the French women league. So Germany, I don't know, but I see Kadija Bonisha might run her contract down and look at available options. But I mean, the best, one of the best striker, and I think me before all this injury, I was saying she was the best number 9 in the world to me with her overall game. You understand? She was the best, and King, read her stats out right there, and for someone that to score amount of goals that she scored. Remember, she leave work up right after work up. She was coming from Tennessee's University, junior school, university, then Bordeaux, then City. That's a big step up. That's a huge step up. So she have jumped a lot of hurdles. You understand? But Daniel, what fit? You see, I can't see her go to Real Madrid because that will be another letdown that another club like Barcelona will just keep dominate that league. As less Real Madrid going to splash some serious cash to try to overpower that Barca team.
I think she should wait and see what is City ambition this summer, and then she can make her future. But I don't see she leaving. You get what I'm saying? I don't get that from her personality that she want to jump ship. I
Yeah,
just think that she gonna have to just wait and see what the ambition with this City team, because they're gonna have to go out and get some players in because they haven't make it to the Champions League. So if they do want to be up there challenging, I think she gonna have ambition
No
to
Champions League next season.
yeah, no Champions League. So
No Champions League next season. So it's all about the league for Manchester City next season. But King, I have a question for you regarding the national team for her. We will play the Three Lions and the US Women's National Team, coming up in the summer. If she's close to return with that date, will it be the right thing for her to go away, enjoy the summer, go on vacation, get her body back up to full fitness, and try to focus and get back on track for the next season? Even though those games are friendly, but we have crucial games that's coming up later in the year. I think the Women's World Cup qualifier will start down in the year as well. I think in November. What the process or what would you like, for Kadija Bonisha, to try to rush back to get for that US game and the Three Lions game?
No, honestly, I don't think more that be for any footballer to be rushed back just for, especially a friendly. So if she's fit enough, that's fine,
Yeah.
but not to be rushed back. As I say, it would be best or her best interest to get the summer off. Is me recuperate again. It's not only the injuries that she faced this season, so
Yeah,
it's a lot
yeah.
mentally. It's a lot. So you don't want to really give her that break there. If she's able to take that break, then I would say take that break there, refresh, and come again next season. So if she's not 100% fit, don't rush her back for those games. We've been doing without her. You get me? I say when I say
Yeah.
we've been well, but we've been doing without
Yeah,
her.
but
so
we need her though. But we need her. We
we
need
need
her.
her now,
We need her.
because
Yeah.
there's no two way about it. We need her, but we have the timing of right. And for friendlies, I would say no. She have a
But
100%.
those are two top teams that's in the top five. USU would love to play even against the Three Lions. Cause remember, if we did beat Colombia, we would have played the Three Lions in the World Cup.
Yeah, so I understand all of that, but I'm saying that the jeopardy upon it, the margins,
Yeah.
because of friendly. If I did something more serious than that, I would have say yeah, but I can't agree for friendlies. I can't agree.
Yeah.
Can't agree with friendlies.
Yeah, man. But we're going to move forward. We're going to talk about, this story that I talked about on the morning Saturday extra on Saturday yesterday. We talk about, I spoke about, Dujan Whisper and Daniel as a Chelsea man, King of the year, your thoughts on that as well. But for the people then that, never hear the audio, I'm just going to just replay it again. So maybe you guys can refresh, or if you never hear it, are you going to hear it for the first time? So this was the latest, update that I said on the on the Morning Insider of, prominent journalist in Jamaica.
A quick update on Whisper Richards' situation. My impeccable information is that Whisper is now fully recovered from his injury, his surgery, and is now back in full training at Chelsea. But he's been playing under 21 all season. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chelsea are in the final of the under 21 for this season. But the season is literally coming to a close. So we understand that the coaching staff at Chelsea they've taken a decision not to bother to play Whisper for the rest of the season. And for him to just go into pre-season afresh, not just to try and play under 21, but we understand that about carry him go play. What's the pre-season thing? The super thing with them have in a pre-season. So Whisper is still very much a part of Chelsea plans going forward, and is now fully recovered and back in training, albeit late for this season. But you can expect better things from Whisper next season.
May did I talk about this, Daniel, and we were trying to get, to figure out where the Chelsea academy team will locate this summer, for their preseason, and I didn't find it, but I saw something about the Chelsea team might be in that Premier League Cup preseason that would be in America. I'm not sure about that because of the club World Cup, the schedule. Daniel, Chelsea's in a conference league. We saw Dujan play double digit game for Chelsea. Academy team scored, I think, 7 goals. During that spell, we saw a few of his teammates that played with him in that in that academy team playing in a conference league and a very young one in a Tyreek George, someone that Chelsea been pushing to get a lot of first team minutes, try to push his development, give him that opportunity. Even in the Premier League, he's scoring goals. You are not just him, 16-year-old, we see him getting games. We saw some under 18 teams, some under 18 players that when Dujan was playing for the academy, those players were playing for the under 16, and a few of them were playing for the under 18. It's only if Dujan never did a surgery, it would have been right in the mix going forward. What's your thought of Dujan, quality, and what he can produce with those talent that Chelsea have in their talent pool?
I think it was very unfortunate he picked up that injury. I think if he wasn't injured, I think he would have definitely. I guarantee 100% he would have been playing for Chelsea. You get what I'm saying? So, I don't see him Chelsea gonna play in the FIFA Club World Cup this summer. I don't think they will bring him. I think he probably will go with the young players and play some preseason. I just
Yeah.
don't. I think it's gonna be too much for him. Knowing all Enzo Maresca move, I just don't see him. I just don't see him at him. You get what I'm saying? And I don't think Enzo Maresca have able to watch Whisper as yet because
Mhm.
I think it's only was when Pochettino was there.
Yeah.
Pochettino
Brought
see
him on a
everything
preseason tour
firsthand,
with him.
but hearing Enzo Maresca talk, his press conference and stuff, he do watch a lot of videos of the players that's there, and he watch a lot of videos. So I would not be surprised if he already watch some clips and see what Whisper is all about. But
Yeah.
knowing all him manage players and them injuries, I just don't see him coming to Chelsea. But I can see Whisper if Whisper have a very good preseason with the youth team, I definitely see him having a breakthrough at Chelsea next season. I can see it.
Yeah, I just sad to know that he didn't try to get in that Europe in the conference. I think it would have been a very good step for him moving forward because if you look at the quality of the players that he played alongside, he
Yeah.
was like the top player in that team in the academy. You understand? But I just think moving forward for him, this goes to my next question that I want to get out there, that I don't want to see him nowhere near the Reggae Boy team this summer. Nowhere near.
You want him or you don't
No,
want?
I don't want him nowhere. And I'm just going to say why. Whisper is coming off a it's a very critical injury, just like Mikel Antonio. I don't want to see Mikel Antonio around the Reggae Boy squad this summer. The reason, Mikel is 35. You understand? Mikel is not really the answer. We don't know what it will be, his physicality will be. Dujan, for him, training and playing in, competitive tournament, especially World Cup qualifier, where we're going to have a Guatemala team that's going to come flying against us, in Kingston. They will come again flying us again in the World Cup. So it's going to be high intense game.
So
Take his time, gradually get, his match sharp, get back the tune, try to
Yeah.
feel back all the grass, feel again, alongside teammates. I know he's training, you understand, but it's different when you go through your preseason piece, get back fully fit. I don't
Yeah.
want Whisper to be out injured because these type of injuries, King, you very eager to go ahead, go ahead.
All right, so watch the irony now. So the irony is you asked me about Bonisha,
Yeah,
and me have two different takes. If Whisper is fully fit,
yeah,
I'd want him to be back in the national team. It's going to be very difficult. However, remember that Whisper was in the national team even when he wasn't, what they call it now, playing for a club, right? Remember, so
yeah,
Whisper actually I played for the national team even before
yeah,
he was playing at a club. Now, I got some information in regards to Whisper's injury. So apparently, if you remember the game when Whisper played a Manning Cup, you remember that Manning Cup game where Whisper did injured for, and I
yeah.
think he didn't end up miss a game. So apparently, the injury where Whisper have for make him miss the whole of that season, yeah, is apparently coming from his time in the Manning Cup,
Yeah,
So from in a Manning Cup, him
yeah,
really
yeah, that
broke
injury was Craig
something.
Butler. Is that time when he got that ninja and Craig Butler run out of the stadium?
I think that was and him they miss the next game.
Yeah.
I think it was that, if memory serves me right. So the injury come from Manning Cup, apparently. So I don't know how you have a broken, what is it? Piece of knee?
It's something like that. I
And
know
then
it's
you
like
have a broke piece of your foot and end up pass your medical for
medical.
Chelsea, which is great. By me, I'm like, well, for it. If you can, so skill for either for pass your medical for go Chelsea, yo, power to you. You see me? And if you can do that and even play so good for the rest of the Manning Cup season, because I think that was before the game, before the CC game, before him performed so well at Chelsea Youth Academy. But guess what? It catch up on him, and he needed to do surgery and get the surgery out of the way. So for me, if he recover from that surgery, because I know like during the season, it will come from long time. If he recover from that surgery as well, the clip just said,
yeah.
and he's able to, especially if he's able to play. I don't know. It says also him gonna play. Them hope for him to play the
some preseason game. Huh? Where's it?
Them hope him got the squad for go Club World Cup.
But I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see with him. Because remember, Pochettino was the one who brought him on tour last summer. I know he's a new coach, so Morris didn't see much of him. Like during
the only thing I can think of, because this is Joe Shields signings. Remember I always mention that guy name. This is Joe Shields, and Joe Shields is very close with the recruitment team. So that's the only. Just bring him on the trip. But I won't. If they're just gonna bring him on the trip, just to bring him on the trip, I don't want that. I would love to see him go with the young team, get fitness, and be ready for the season. You get what I'm saying? But I just don't see it happening after such a long time out.
Yeah. So let me pull this up. Let me pull this up, King. So I want to pull that up. So he said that he did some research and that Chelsea will partake in this inaugural invitation with the MLS Pro tournament this summer. So hopefully, but I know Chelsea usually do preseason tournament with the under 21, the academy, and also there's a development squad. Chelsea have a massive youth squads, when we say squads, the man them have a lone squad itself, so Dujan is up against it, but we know his quality. But one thing though, Dujan have over a lot of these players, his body, his physical build for his age. I think he have the Premier League body. It's all about to get a little bit stronger. But go ahead of what you're gonna say.
Yes, so as it relates to, as I say, I'm physically ready in terms of him body, even compared to the player that's getting the game time now. And Daniel should know much about this. But Tyreek George, honestly, when I look at Tyreek George, I'm not Tyreek George to say he's a bad player. He's a really nice player. Him look neat, him look skillful, But Tyreek George compared to Dujan Whisper, I tell you, night and day in my opinion. Whisper more powerful than him, Whisper our left foot. Go through Daniel. Come on, you want to defend the player.
No. Why I cannot say that? Because Whisper has not yet played for the senior team. You get what I'm saying? Playing youth football and playing at the highest level, it's not the same. So Whisper, just because we know Whisper mash up local boy football, and then him can't cut it when him go to the big man league. So you cannot say that.
Whoa, Daniel. Why you say him can't cut it? Remember that he plays senior football for the Jamaica national football team and scored. So
you can compare Kanka Cup for Premier League?
I'm not comparing Kanka. I'm saying senior football.
But that's my point. Football. I need to see him play in the Premier League first, so I can make my adjustment. What I see from Tyreek George. What I see from Tyreek George right now. Tyreek George is a winger, He's a winger,
Yeah.
You know what Morris have him playing?
Center forward.
Striker. Center forward. And he come in and doing a really good job. You get what I'm saying? Until I see Whisper play, because we don't know what we're gonna. First of all, we don't even know what Whisper gonna look after pre-injury. We don't even know what he's gonna be pre-injury. So we have to be very careful. You get what I'm saying? We don't know what Whisper is gonna be pre-injury, so we have to be careful about that part too.
So I'm gonna tell you some facts, Daniel. You know what he's gonna be pre-injured? He's gonna be 6'2". You know Tyreek George is 5'11".
I'm gonna be real with you right now. I think Tyreek George is either Whisper, technically.
No, experience-wise.
Yeah, I think he's either Whisper. Yeah. Until Mr. Whisper go on Stamford Bridge and play some ball, then me give my judge. I can't. Me not go off on a money cup and no youth football. When me
senior football. Remember senior football.
I need to see football.
Carabao Cup
for Jamaica.
Senior football.
What about Carabao Cup?
Compared to the man playing in Premier League.
What about Carabao Cup? What about Carabao Cup?
The level is just not the same.
Carabao Cup. Carabao Cup.
Carabao Cup, I can't judge him for that. I need to see my Premier League, dog. A Premier League and Champions League football, that's the level. I'm sorry.
But
Tyreek George is ahead of Whisper.
Yeah, definitely.
Development. I'm sorry. As much as I love Whisper, I'm a Jamaican, we have to talk the facts.
Tyreek education is way ahead.
Potentially, I think Whisper potential is gonna, if he able to go past his injury, and what I see him as a player is, I think potentially he's a better player. But at this moment right now, development and what's going on right now, I think Tyreek is ahead of him.
So I'm gonna say this as well. So that's not fair to say Tyreek George is ahead of him. You know why? Tyreek George played Premier League. Tyreek George has played the scene in the Chelsea senior team. We haven't seen Whisper playing in the Chelsea senior team as yet. And not because Whisper not good enough, because of injury. Let me have to say that out there first. So you can't say I'm better than him or ahead of him because we don't know.
Better than him. I said he's with his
he's ahead of him.
He's ahead of
so
him.
We can't even say that as well because that means you'd have to see Whisper in Chelsea's senior team to judge him. If you get what I say, you haven't seen and a like for like and apples and orange you compare right now. You compare somebody that you haven't seen playing senior football for Chelsea versus somebody that you have seen playing senior football for Chelsea. So apples and orange. So now if him did play senior football for Chelsea and then you say, okay, in development no reach, you could have said that. So that's not fair again for the ball. I'm gonna pick up for him with this.
No, that's why I'm gonna say. That's why I'm gonna say you can't say better than me. I did was saying that. So you can't say better than him until him start playing.
You can't also say him development is ahead of him because you don't.
No, but Tyreek George been coming to Jamaica, Premier Chelsea whole system. He have a better education at football in England than what Whisper was getting at Jamaica.
So what you can say is he's more experienced than him in senior men's football.
I think the education, I'm sorry, the education of football in England compared to Jamaica is not the same. We have to be real, dog. They have to be real. The education what the players is getting in England compared to what they're getting in Jamaica, it's not the same.
But he might get the same around the team and he might get the same education.
No. That's why I'm saying, and that's why I'm say Tyreek with him development is ahead of Whisper, regardless if Whisper was injured or not. Potential wise players, Whisper is better, but develop with mentality, how to play the football, where to be in position, when to run back, when to go forward. Those type of simple, look basic to the football game. Tyreek is there. Whisper is not there.
I would say his education and how he's grew up in that Chelsea system, grew up against coaches that have UEFA Pro license coaching him. He probably learn more about the game. But if we're talking about like raw attributes, I think it's very close. It's very close.
I think I personally think Whisper is better overall player. But
like attributes.
Attribute wise, I think Whisper is better.
But this discussion, the last point, you have something that you want to say before we're not moving from Whisper. I'm just going to our next discussion.
Yeah, man, you're spot on than in terms of
Daniel.
Steel. Oh yeah, Daniel.
Daniel. Big up Dan.
Big up Dan. Daniel, let's spot on because I understand we are 110%. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying that Tyreek George isn't ahead of him in his development. I'm not saying that that's not a fact. But what I say is, personally, I can't judge because there's no evidence to judge that. You get me? I say that a one and two. You're right in terms of ceiling. It obviously Whisper ceiling higher than Tyreek George ceiling, but in terms of taking on the information we may get over time so far, I think so far the minutes that Tyreek George get for your senior team is valuable. So you can argue off the bat, say you can assume that he has been developing more because he might get them minutes, they might get them experience with the senior football team that Whisper hasn't been getting. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I would want to see Whisper get the same minutes, the same exposure, and then now similar we can judge who develop more. But right now, him not get them experience, him not get them minutes there. So we can your argument we can assume it.
Yeah.
It's easy to assume your argument if you get what I say. So
Yeah.
but that's it want to make it clear, say, I say what you say isn't right or isn't factual, but just I say it's still unfair upon the ball. You see me?
But all right. With him potentially might be in this summer tournament, these games, broadcast on YouTube. The MLS Next Pro, they broadcast all the games on YouTube. So we're looking out for, Dujan Whisper Richards if he will be amongst, the young peers going during this summer league in Salt Lake. This will be a very good test. It will be a little bit in the summer. Salt Lake can be hot in the summer with a little bit of altitude. So it will be a good, platform for him to get back that fitness. Someone asked in the comment if Whisper that, go to the Unity Cup. I just don't want to see Whisper around the Reggae Boy team for me personally. I want to see him go through the pace, get back, that sharpness, go through training, get preseason under his belt, getting used to, that physicality again through training before, experience it in match. It's not like a player that he was playing senior football and coming back from injury. No, want to get him body right, want to make sure that he's fully healthy and go through the pace and go to the right procedure. But with our number 9 position is, I don't even know what to say, Daniel and King. Is Whisper, like in the future when that time is there, is he that future number 9 that we're sleeping on? Or he's like a player like Rashford that don't want to play the 9, want to play as a winger? King.
So it for me personally, I've always been skeptic on where best Whisper should play because, again, I think he's better in front the goal. So you want to get him as centrally as possible, which would be, I see him probably as a second striker, where I think he can play with an out and out number 9, but I also see him with the possibility of leading the line. Now, in terms of him being developed to lead the line for Jamaica as the number 9, the out and out number 9, right now, I'm not seeing evidence of I could have said me that throw him in there as the out and out number 9. So I still see he might play that role probably off the bench, if right wing as necessary, but more than have him probably as a second striker more than anything else instead of like the out and out number 9. So me personally, I look upon it right now to answer your question directly. That's what you asked, right? In terms of where his position is best. So I see him as a second striker, probably a play with a next striker, but not the man for say, me that give him the pressure as out and out number 9 right now in terms of where he's in his career. But I don't really like him off the wing. Probably on the wing, kind of give him a little more shelter and take away a little pressure off of him as well. But I want Whisper in front of the goal. So anyway, I can get him in front of the goal, but without put the pressure of leading the line and being that number 9 right now, I think. So I think definitely second striker.
Daniel.
Excuse me. I think he could develop to be a very prolific striker. I like all the way he strike the ball. I think he have a very good strike on him. Compare him to what I see with Jackson. Jackson is a very all-run player, but he just cannot finish and he just cannot strike the ball good. And I compare him to Whisper. I think Whisper, and he can strike the ball good. He can dribble. You get what I'm saying? So I think if and he have the body structure to become like a person to hold up the ball. You get what I'm saying? But I don't know if he can play with his back turned towards the goal, because if there's one thing I like with Jackson is not the strongest player, but he's very cute and he's very smart when it comes to come deep and collect the ball and turn. I don't know. I've never really watched Whisper too much in high school. I know the football level is different, but regardless of a player, whatever you attribute of or whatever you do, it will show. By you guys watching him when he was playing high school football, did you get that from Whisper that he have that technical ability, that ball knowledge, say, yeah, I'm come deep, the turn, move forward the ball. Because me is the play striker, so me know those type of thing. You have to hold up player, hold up the player. I don't know if Whisper is that type of player. Whisper is more like a Rashford that want the ball to roll towards him and him run towards the ball. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no, but I know as far as shooting the ball, he have that luck. Dribbling, he have that luck. But playing in the Premier League, you have to have more than that. Are you gonna struggle? Look at Rasmus Holland at United. He can't keep the ball and he struggled. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's the only my point to Whisper.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play for a top team, the way our Chelsea play, you have to can hold the ball. If you cannot hold the ball, you're not gonna able to play. Because that's I think what Jacks have over most of the striker that Chelsea have. He knows to hold up the ball. He knows to bring him in Palmer, Madueke, Neto, bring them into the game. That's what Whisper gonna have to know how to do if you're gonna play.
Yeah, I think when he's at Kingston College, playing Manning Cup, I just think that his discipline. I don't know if because he was have that attitude that he is the biggest player in the Manning Cup. I didn't really get much of his technical ability of discipline of how to run the channels as a number 9. KC more when I was watching him in the schoolboy football, KC more play to his feet. But what Whisper dangerous is that get him in a channel, isolate him 1v1 where he can, X that defender, where he can do anything with that defender 1v1. But I just think that if he needs to improve on something as a number 9, if you want to grow in that position, I think, Eral, I think he needs to work on that. I think, on his physical presence of just getting in, that era presence, with defenders, get a little bit nasty with defenders, because as a striker in the Premier League, if you want to cut it there, you have to be everything else. Not every player will be, Lionel Messi, where you're just going to be gifted with something and you're just going to dominate. But to be a number 9, that physical player, Whisper, defenders will come up against him, but he needs to work on that aerial present. He needs to be a little bit more nasty, more aggressive. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that what really on his side too, he have that body structure. So I think naturally that should be given to him to know how to hold up the ball and be
But
very strong.
He didn't use it much in the Manning Cup because he more used as a runner.
But I do want to know, what is Whisper? What does he want to play? What does he see himself as? That's what I would love to know.
I think Whisper want to play right wing. What you thinking?
The right wing conundrum is gonna be a lot, because it's the same thing. Whisper actually is the same. We have the same thought process of Whisper that I have of Mason Greenwood, and at the same issues where me I try to figure out where you can have these players more effective, because both of them have similar traits. And I know people are gonna come at me now to say, can you compare Whisper with Greenwood? But in terms of goal scorers, say him biggest attribute is finishing, in my opinion. If raw power,
Mason or Whisper?
Whisper. Because Whisper even seem like him more powerful. But again, as we Daniel point out, is how him develop, or him continue to develop him attributes from what we know of him. Because the truth is we haven't seen Whisper in so long. So the Whisper that we know, when last year, it's been so long. I'm not say Whisper now. I don't even know when last I see him. We know what was his attributes. So him attributes are him finishing, him shot power, him powerful in terms of when he was in schoolboy football, as Daniel asked. But when you're now up against senior men's players that are as big as you are, you get me? I say no, the player feel even.
Yeah.
Because then of schoolboy football is when some of the defender them we are come up against, or most of the defender them you're gonna be taller than, because him a 6'2". You gotta buck up on a lot of defenders now where are the same size as you are. You see me, you gotta buck up on some defenders
And even
now
more stronger.
even stronger. So now the ball game kind of change. So how him develop are gonna be very important. But in terms of using his best attributes, I think it's gonna be important how him actually develop. It's sad to say that we can't track this development because the last couple months he's been out. So me personally I got interested to see how him
Just hopefully, King,
come back.
he will be with that Chelsea team because that MLS Pro Invitational Tournament will be massive. We will see a lot from him. You understand? We will see. So hopefully he will be somewhere where we can see him, on our TV, whatever it is, we can stream something. But those games sometimes normally stream on Chelsea TV. So that will be very crucial going forward. But look, I want to get into the Ravel segment, but I have to mention this before I go further into that. It's devastated of what happened with Amari, his team, Luton Town, back-to-back relegation, the fourth time this happened in English football where a team goes, to the Premier League and get relegated to Championship and then get relegated to League One. Swindon, it happened 94, 95. Sunderland just recently, 7 years ago in 2018. Wolves, it happened to Wolves, in 2011, 2012 season. And now Luton Town is the fourth team. Amari, sadly, he will be out of a contract this summer. He will look, hopefully, a club will snap him up. Hopefully, we can see him at a higher level rather than re-sign with Luton Town. It's just a bad run, bad management. I think they kept Rob Edwards a little bit too long at the post. I don't know what they were waiting at to sack him. But League One, that's where Amari team is at. But he will be out of contract this summer. Daniel, one of our best left back, when he started to play for the Reggae Boyz, now he's falling behind Greg Lay. And if you ask me, Greg Lay got an hamstring injury, versus Portsmouth, I think. And then he came back. He benched a few games, but he started to start again. And then he scored, yesterday as well. So I think Greg Lay now is ahead of Amari. Remember when Amari was playing in the Premier League, was playing really well for the Reggae Boy. It is not where we were expecting to play, but he was doing okay. With his team, he played 150 club games for Luton Town. What will be this summer look like for Amari Bell moving forward? It cannot be League One football, Daniel.
We was talking about that this last week. Say, if we want to challenge, the players have to be playing at a very good level, and knowing that his contract gonna be up. You never really see team unless that player is a very, very good player on that team. Like he's like the outstanding player. Like you never really see team go and sign players from a team that just get relegated, especially going down into.
Can he be the Andy Robertson when they sign him from Hull City to Liverpool?
I can't really say it too much. I watch every time when Luton play, I'm able to watch him, but I never really watched Luton at all last season in the championship, so I never really able to see how he's play. But solid player. Whenever he plays, he can play in a back three, he can play left back. So very good option. A team that one player that very versatile, and Jamaican international. So I think it's gonna be massive for him. I would love to see him get back into the championship. I think Premier League gonna be too much of a stretch, but at least get back into the championship. So you're playing at a level where it's very competitive, and so when you come to Jamaica, you have a very good balance of competitive, But I don't know. I really don't watch too much of him last season to see what was his overall play. I can't really speak on him too much.
You have anything that you want to say on Amari King.
And Amari, it's a sad situation for Luton Town because ironically Luton, the year when they were in the Premier League, that was
Last season.
last season.
Yeah, that's last season. That's so quick. They quick. Look, they played Premier League football last year. This time they were playing Premier League football. No, they're in League One. The football can
Time
change
go
in
by
12 months.
fast. Time blow off fast. Crazy.
Football comes at you quick, man. That just show you say football comes at you quick. You have to grab your opportunities, them, man. But it's very, very sad to see because the truth is Luton Town did have one of the most experienced team them in that championship. So
Yeah.
it's sad that we reached them. And to be honest, I think they only needed a
Win.
victory on the last
Yeah,
day,
they need
right?
a win. Yeah, and they lost at West Brom.
Yeah, and the
Now,
last at West Brom.
go to King, but put in perspective, tomorrow Amari Bell's birthday is gonna be 32. So putting that
Shout out to Amari Bell. Yo, good
just
one,
taking
Daniel.
stats that his birthday gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be 32.
So Daniel, all you say is a birthday present him gift. Yeah, but yeah, it's sad because honestly, it's so ironical in upon the Luton Town team there. I think Doherty, the left wing.
The left back, yeah, very good, very
Yo,
good.
that good that great season in the Premier
Yeah,
League.
the Premier
So
League, right? Yeah.
when I say yo, them not for drop because I didn't even want them to drop last season. So them dropping down, I say all right then. They seem to have enough quality to come right back up. But then if you see them actually drop again to League One, it's so sad. And I think Amari Bell played most of his games in the season as a left centre half in a back three instead of playing left wing back because again, even last year in the Premier League, I think that was the case, right? Because Doughty was the
left wing back.
Doughty was a left wing back. So
yeah.
And that is the thing. Amari Bell is the more defensive of the two left backs that we have in terms of Greg Lay and Amari Bell. So, but a lot of people prefer
John Bell.
John Bell, yeah. I have John Bell also that plays. I think he's playing MLS, right?
Seattle, I think. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so it's sad, but as it relates to him being the Andy Roberts, I think that would have to happen from last season. I don't think this season where I go to League One that I got for a Premier League club really snap him up. Hopefully a Championship club can snap him up because again we know him class, and as Daniela point out though he's gonna be 32, so age is not on his side. And again, as you point out, is out of contract this summer. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what his next step is gonna be.
The World Cup going to be crucial for him.
Gold Cup is gonna be crucial, but then probably him gonna be the fall guy in terms of if a certain left back decides that he's gonna commit his future to Jamaica, because really and truly, who is gonna be? You gotta carry him where him out of contract, him have to probably find where he's go. Say have a big summer.
Mitchell out of contract this summer.
Mitchell out of contract as well?
I don't know. I'm out.
Nothing I know of, but I still
came back as well.
But I still see Mitchell can get back in that England team after the way or Crystal Palace been. Crystal Palace playing, he's been playing really good, and he represent England before.
From Crystal Palace in England.
What's his name? That play for Arsenal, that youngster. Otherwise than that, Chidwell is not. I don't see Chidwell getting back in the England team. I don't see Luke Shaw getting back in. So I can see
Daniel.
Luke Shaw, them golden prince.
Luke Shaw, no, I don't see Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is finished.
It's not us, remember them love Luke Shaw. Them bringing.
No. I don't think Thomas Google is gonna bring back Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw. Look what Luke Shaw is doing for United right now. He's not nowhere near used to be. I just don't see it. You get what I'm saying? So I think Michelle is gonna be someone to.
Hey, Rico Henry name. I gonna start call back because he's back.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be real. I like Rico Henry because I like my fullback going forward, and I don't think we have enough fullbacks that like
Rico Henry when he was fit playing in the championship and that first season when he came up with Brentford, he was at that level where Anthony Robinson was.
Yeah.
And is at the moment for Fulham. His stamina is second to none.
Yeah, but I don't know if Rico Henry came back from that injury, like the
Yeah,
player he was before. And if you check him age again, Rico Henry is actually going down the hill as well. So I have to see where Rico Henry is. But me watch Tyreek Mitchell game in game out, and I know that you said, Daniel, that England still have them eyes on him. But the truth and the matter is, with what's his name from Arsenal, the youngster,
Lewis
with the two
Kelly.
youngsters, them Lewis Kelly and the left back from Newcastle, even though he's injured right now.
Lewis
Paul,
Hall.
Paul,
Lewis Hall.
Lusa.
Lewis
Lewis Hall.
Hall and Lewis
Yeah.
Kelly, the two Lewis them. Honestly, the way England are move, I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Shaw, seeing that he's fit right now, I think they would rather call up Luke Shaw before
Let's see.
Tyreek Mitchell. I'll be
Let's
honest
see.
with you. See,
Let's
Samuel
go
Fletcher said,
see.
I think they rather call Livermento and play him left back before. Me don't know what Tyreek Mitchell do the man them. Me I tell you, I see
True.
Tyreek Mitchell in I'm hottest form in I'm life.
That's true.
I'm see England now have no fit left back.
But you
I'ma
know,
see
it
them
happened
down.
from I think after Ashley Cole retired, it
Yeah.
has at then time start. Even Ashley Cole played in the World Cup 2018 as well. So Euros, I think Euro as well. So it's been
Bro,
happening since Ashley
when
Cole
you talk
retired.
about Ashley Cole, I think the man them rather care about Ashley Young and play him left back. As old as Ashley Young. Dan Burn. Call all of the name them. Let's call all of the name them. Where Chelsea, where your left back name, Daniel? Where your left back? No, where your left centre half name? Where you
Oh,
use left back?
Colwell.
Caldwell.
Cole Will. If you call all of the name, then the man them rather play them there left back.
Yeah.
I saw
All
me
right.
see it, so I really think him stand a chance and him need to make up his mind
Yeah.
right now.
All right.
That's all I see.
The one I have to talk about position for the Reggae Boys is the midfield, number 10. And when you talk about the number 10, there's always two names mentioned. Is either some person say, hey, he's not good, or some person say, hey, he's good enough. Ravel and Magee. When this conversation start, anyway, on YouTube, it no stop, yes, sir. You understand? It no stop, yes, sir. And it shows that still talking about two players that one is going down the hill really fast, and you will say one is going up in age, but we don't know what is the quality he can bring to the team. Same way, we saw the goal, he look sharp, he look fit. He's in the season much longer now, and I think the more the third year is going on, he's going to get better. But I just want to say this, before I get you guys on it. Yeah, the league that Ravel is playing, I done some research on it, and I look not just on Precision FC, but I look and scoop around the other teams and look at the level of the league like last season, and it's not a bad league. But what I can say is the infrastructure for a lot of the clubs, it's very good. Yes, it's very good, and Ravel is playing in a team that is professional. It's a professional team. They go about their way in a professional manner. If you look at the infrastructure, it's a professional setup. And a few of the teams that played in that league as well, King and Dan, they played some good football, because I look at reels, I look at some little short clips, I found something, and I even look at the tier above it as well, that it's a very, very good league, above the league above Ravel, where it's playing on the second tier in UAE. Ravel might, and I'm not going to say might, Ravel will alter contract. I don't think Ravel are going to scrub the and sign a 2-year deal, but allegedly he's out of contract this summer. So this summer is going to be big. But with him, getting goals, getting that feeling of when he was at Derby County, I think still that one of his best season late in the last 5 to 6 years. King, before we go into details though, why you think, this position is always Ravel and Tyreek Magee name always pop up?
So why I think that is because I think it's arguably two of the most talented midfielders that has represented Jamaica Reggae Boys in the I would say last decade. In terms of talent, in terms of touch, in terms of vision, in terms of ball handling skills, I think the two of them, in terms of handling this football, are two of the better ball handlers that has done the black, gold, and green or in the last decade. Now, the two of them a curious case, because one of them hasn't lived up to them potential. Well, both of them, you can say, hasn't lived up to them potential, because Ravel, in terms of how people spoke about Ravel growing up or coming up, Ravel definitely never fulfilling potential.
So someone said Mitchell would be free agent as well. So big up to that clarification. I think I heard it too that he will be a free agent. So I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, so, and I think in terms of favorites, Magee has been a favorite of a lot of Jamaicans. So as Ravel. So the people them favorites are two of the people them favorites, and the reason why they are two of the people them favorites is them style of play, them easy on the eye, them maneuver this football well. However, in terms of them careers, two of them just have two unfortunate career. Yeah, Magee win USL last season, then got um then got relegated from the JPL. So moving from winning USL last season to getting relegated from
Is
JPL.
the Amari Bell?
It's like Amari Bell. So
Going to the Premier League for Luton was a winning thing for them, you know.
Exactly.
I think someone said it in the champion in the comment that don't you think that Luton went up too fast?
Exactly. So it's just a sad situation while Ravel and other and him care about 100 club this Ravel gone, you know. I think Ravel probably have the record for the man where go the most club in our history, you know, man. I can't tell you which club Ravel
Michael Hector.
Oh, Hector.
Yeah, Hector have that record. The most journeyman in English football.
Oh, really? Look at that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
really actually they're not able to get a consistency in terms of where have they been. So them talent undeniable, but in terms of them growth and development into the player where them supposed to become, I just think that has been lacking. However, them skill set is still unmatched, you know, because if you think about what Ravel does and what Ravel can bring to the team, you can't, off the top of my head now, call one player that have Ravel's skill set. And just like Magee, in terms of Magee and him best day, if Magee is playing all-time skin, and not even all-time skin, putting Magee in a certain games. Because for me, I think playing Magee against some teams with low blocks, some teams like St. Vincent where you have majority of the football, I think that's where you have to see the best of Magee. Now playing Magee against a team like USA where you need to have the fight there in the midfield, you probably not see the best of Magee. So it's just like with any other team. Still with Liverpool. In terms of Liverpool, me think say you have a ball named Szoboszlai. I don't think Szoboszlai should play all of the games then, because some team you need to unlock those teams. I think Magee can unlock those teams. You get me? I say so. It's just for find the balance who for play which game, and I think Ravel probably have the better balance out of the two because he's the more senior of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the reason why those two names are forever called so long as they're playing football, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, somebody has said I would love to see them both in a team. But with that though, you know, Daniel, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
why
say,
you think Ravel and Magee name always come up about the number 10 position?
I don't want to be harsh, but these two players, they are not playing at any level right now, so they're not supposed to be anywhere in the national team. I think Magee dropped the ball. I think he should have stayed in USL or tried to get a step up in the MLS. I don't know who advised him to go back to Jamaica. I don't know what was that, and then get relegated. Have a relegated on your resume in the Jamaica Premier League.
It's not good.
I don't know who advised him that. So, Ravel, not really. Honestly, as a Jamaican player, I want good things happen, good things for. But I'm gonna be real. When I see him play for Jamaica, I don't really think he do too much of as a number 10. What I expect from a number 10, I don't think he gave too much to the team. I'm gonna be real. I
Some
just
might
don't.
say he didn't get the opportunity that much to play as a 10, playing as a 8 alongside some woeful CDM, but I'm going to get there with that conversation as well. But continue.
even if we bring him back, like where would he play? You get what I'm saying? Like I just don't think
the bench.
the way all this coach want to play, I don't know where he will fit in the team. You get what I'm saying? So Magee dropped the ball, should have never went back to Jamaica. And then Morrison leaving MLS to go where he at right now. It's poor. Like
Yeah.
it's just poor. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just very poor. And then my thing is I have a very high standard. If we want to be better as a team, Jamaica, we cannot bring these players come on the team. I'm sorry. These players just
Yeah.
cannot be around the team. You know, the level we go down, and that's why we cannot expect to bring players that not performing at a certain level, and then when they come on Jamaica and playing, then we realize that we're not getting results. We have to
Yeah.
be real, you know?
Yeah. Real ball asked me if me a black comment. No, me not a black comment. You understand? But he said, Cernica, that I will disagree you regardless of the league level, lay quality can match Amari. But I didn't say Amari Bell never better. But I think we did say at this point, Lay is ahead of Amari Bell for the national team. Because if you look for me, I think playing left center half, usually a left back, I think that kind of cripple is speed going forward. And Amari Bell have played left wing back a couple times this season when Doherty was out, and it seems like he don't even know. I remember how to run. You understand? So it's just all about the level of how Greg Lay is playing. Like Greg Lay picked up a muscle injury, recover back quick, bam, bam. And how Greg Lay being set up in his at his club, it's much suit him a lot more better because at this moment I think Greg Lay engine is a lot bigger than Amari Bell. I think Greg Lay is a lot fitter. 1v1, both of them are not that excellent, but they are okay. You understand? But Greg Lay is producing the goods at this moment. This is football. Today you're good, tomorrow you're off. You understand? I'm going to get to your comment further down in that as well. But for me,
now cut you up, but someone said that he did not get cut. Morrison did not get cut from the MLS. He got cut from the MLS. He didn't leave. So if he got cut, that even worse. You get me? So if you're getting cut from the MLS,
I have to go check about that. Yeah, I have to remember Wayne Rooney was there. Wayne Rooney that brought him there at DC. But with the Ravel though, Ravel been playing for the Reggae Boyz with some mediocre CDM. Speedy Williams is okay, but he's not that player that will free up Ravel Morrison. You understand? And with Isaac Eden, with our true and only CDM player that played at that level, maybe if we get Ravel, maybe, and again, it's just sad on the scouting system for the Reggae Boyz that we're in 2025 and we still have to talk about Ravel Morrison and Tariq Magee. It's just sad at this moment, the state of where our national pool is at this moment. So I just think maybe with Isaac Eden, with John Russell's and Farm, maybe those two players can help to free him up as well. You understand? But hold your point, King. Hold your point. Don't move. I just want to, people, I just want to play this. Just take a look at the facility of where, Ravel applied his trade at this moment. So, King, me I go just say this. I'm want you continue with you say a while ago and then want to expand on what you just saw and the infrastructure of that team, the training facility and what is happening indoor. But people, it's a professional setup. This club have ambition. They set up their infrastructure to go to the top tier. So, this club and a few other club in the league that Ravel is playing, they are like this, they are it's like top tier. You understand? And you could see, some local technology stuff of passing the ball after electric machine. It's Dortmund have these stuffs as well. You understand? In this league, I was watching a vlogger talking about this league that Ravel is in, that players are getting between 7K a month and 25K a month. Yeah, between that. So it's a very good setup. It's a very good team, but it's still a core goat league. You have some teams in it that still play competitive, but the space that he's in, there's no way Ravel shouldn't be fit at this moment. King, your time.
Yes, so the first thing I was saying that is that them facility they're impressive, honestly, and I didn't know that. I never know say them so impressive because the last goal Ravel score, and I was looking at the field, it's like when I was looking outside, I could have said the road. So I'm like, hold on there. So many kind of wonder, I just say a very good league because again, I tell you my struggles. I've been trying to find the details. Right now, I'm looking at Flash Score, and Flash Score don't even have Ravel playing for this team. It's saying that you can't have Ravel details. If I look on Sofa Score, if I look on all of the score, them not there. So the team we might play for, I don't know if the information now get out. Even the JPL, even playing the JPL, these websites have the information. So I don't know why the website them not have the information. I don't know if there's an issue with the league and these websites. So that the kind of I'm skeptic about the league. Now, again, when we see the goal, again, we could have see cars a drive past. I don't know if I remember the goal. I don't know the last goal them score. You see cars a drive past, and that's no knock. Because I've seen some stadiums in the USA where you can see the road out a door. So, but I don't expect that. So now we're seeing this. I'm like, well, on there, a state of the art thing. No, I understand say UAE, and them people, them dirty money.
But they're owned by English owners. It's farmer Brighton Youth captain own this. He's the owner. So it's a group of English ex-players that used to play in the lower tier and in the Premier League, academies of those top teams.
Owning a club in UAE?
Yeah. So his sister was the one who went in UAE first, worked for the Emirates, the airline, and he saw the opportunity of the market that need clubs. So he saw that and he grabbed the opportunity and he started his own. I think his name is something like Scub, something like that. But they're owned by some English fellas.
Okay, I didn't know this. So we learn a few things right there. But yeah, I just
really believe. Do we really believe Ravel Morris got on himself to learn to play football? Like, do you really believe that this is his main target to go where he went to play football? No, to make some money. You get me? He's coming to his wrong end of his career.
But don't you think that the facility, Daniel, that is there, it should be at that good level?
I'm not
physical wise.
I'm not saying the facility is not elite, but is the what it is competing for. You get what I'm saying? Because we knowing that we play football before, and if you play for a mediocre team, you will become a mediocre player. You get what I'm saying? If you constantly be mediocre, you will become. No, seriously. If you play for a mediocre team, you're gonna play mediocre football. You will develop this mentality of don't care. You get what I'm saying? You don't care. So your attitude will change. So at this professional level, he's getting paid. When you think these players in the Saudi Arabia League here, they're getting their big money regardless. You get what I'm saying? That's why nobody really care about those leagues. That's why people say when you go to Saudi Arabia, that's it. You develop this, unless you're Ronaldo, that's different. He's in a different way by himself. But when you go play these leagues, your mentality, your instead of jumping at when you're in a Premier League, you saw Caicedo are jumping at tackle. You think that man
Yeah.
jump at tackle over there, so? No
Yeah.
man jumping at tackle.
Alright. King, continue.
Yeah, so again, as Daniel just said, him go UAE for make the bag. However, it is still playing some football, but I don't know the level. In regards to playing down at a certain level, one thing I would say though, I don't think Steve McLaren has had a look at Ravel in this Jamaica national
If
team.
we can look on him, I look on him.
Yeah, but remember, he called him up. Was it the last?
Yeah,
when-
US game. US
The
game.
USA game and him never get a game. So
Yeah.
I would say that fair being fair, give him a take a look at him in the Unity Cup.
Mm.
Take a look at him in the Unity Cup so you can see where his level is.
There
Show us.
might be an opportunity where a team go into the playoff to fight for promotion. So and the regular season ends, I think 3 days, before the Unity Cup start.
Wait. The league have playoffs. I didn't know this. I'm being honest, bro. I didn't know.
Yeah, I did my research today.
Bro, yeah, agree, yo. Big up, yo. You did some well research. As I tell you, I try to look and make. If me have got dig so deep, man, I'm about to look. Honestly, anyone me have to dig so deep, any league in this world,
Yeah.
me not bother look. So, honestly, when them say a Ravel fan, but yeah, honestly, bro, if really and truly Ravel are gonna make him have some kind of playoff figure, make him not come play for Jamaica. That would be sad. That
Yeah,
would be
that would
really
be
sad.
In my playoffs during the time when the team playing.
That's
But
what
I mean, the Unity Cup is not FIFA window, so you have all license to do that.
Oh.
But
Uh,
I don't know, man. It's just sad to see, Tariq Magee as a player that, have look a quality where he can go to that next level. And when I did, a few, look at Tariq Magee, I think I look at, some stats that, since he joined and make his debut for the Colorado Spring team and made 13, he have played 65 games since, that debut. And it's like a half a season, 1.5 season, and he have made what? No, the team have played 65 games since Tariq Magee made his debut and made it 13. And out of that 65, he have played 44 over the 1.5 period. And you have started 24 games and now 13 games in the JPL, 3 goals, relegation. What's next for him? Is he going to Belgium? I don't want to say that because I don't even know, man. Daniel said, like, who? I think the thing with Tariq Magee as well, I think bad advice kind of derailed that journey of a player that could probably be somewhere at a level where he can take care of his family, where he can enjoy his football, play at a decent level, and you win the USL. And I don't want to say yes, Tariq Magee was released from the USL team, but again, Speedy Williams was there as well from 2021. You understand? So he was released as well. But one thing with the USL, when you go on a 12-month contract or 10-month contract from March to November, you sign that contract. If you go ahead and get the stats up and you're asking for more money, hasta la vista, adios. That's it for you. They're going to ship you out because they have a budget. There's not much players going in the USL and sign 2-year, 3-year contract. For players, the regular contract is 10 months and you move on. Romaro Williams, look at how much goal he scored. He got shipped out as well. So I don't think much of dealing with quality why he got released. Is more of contract. I remember Tariq come from Europe. Negotiate a 6-month contract. Maybe they could give him that. But give him a contract now for 12 months. They gave him that. What he's asking for, I don't know what he's asking for. So it's all about him of having that bad advisor around him that, hey, come back to JPL. That would be very bad for him. I think he should have continued somewhere, in USL. You understand, King? But at this moment, King, is Ravel still up for grab? In your thoughts that he should be?
Yeah, for me personally, as I say, You say the playoffs I got done a few days. I didn't get that information because ironically when I got the information about Unity Cup, I also got the information about when the respective leagues were coming to an end. Nobody sent me when that specific league was coming to an end. I'm no fun and jokes aside in regards to the league, and as you said, it's probably a very competitive league.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably have to do some more research. I don't know, but I would want Ravel to get a call up for the Unity Cup, and I would really want him to take up that call up. I want us to get an opportunity to see his level. I want Steve McLaren also to get an opportunity to see where he's at with the team and see if he can add value. So we can
Yeah.
see, because I think the Unity Cup should be about seeing who can come add value to the team.
Yeah.
So I would really want to see both players actually. In regards to Ravel's situation, I heard that you guys talking about it being a bad advice. However, we have to take into consideration that Tariq Magee not only chose to play for Very United, but he also chose to be represented. I think the Phoenix management is now the agent of Tariq Magee. Let me just double check this, but I would assume
I
that
think
would
so.
have
Yeah,
been
I
the
think
case.
it changed. I think it changed as well to
Real
Phoenix.
baller, you need to calm down. A real
King, wanna attack.
baller,
Yeah, I can
man,
answer some
eat this so. What
comments
call
and then
thin
we can.
skin? Right, man, calm down.
Yeah, because looking at his transfer market page right now, it's very updated. Tariq Magee with a picture smiling. This is not the old Tariq Magee picture. Let me see if it lists his agency. Yes, player agent is Phoenix Sports Management. So you have to
Yeah.
take in consideration that he was advised by his management team to play for Ver Phoenix United. And if the agency that will get this big contract in the summer
Yeah.
for Tariq Magee has advised him to go and play for Vera United, we can only trust that the agency, that this new agency that he took up to represent him, is advising him to do the right thing. So let's
Was
see.
was this the time when Paul was a coach when he said Bailey and Antonio had their best game with Ravel? Was it the same time when Paul was a coach when they were playing that little passing game? Was it the World Cup qualifier, the last couple of qualifiers when we already? You remember that little short stint that Paul got as a manager after Tapa, and everyone was like, that's the best time they ever seen the Reggae Boyz team play, and he was a manager I think for Queens Park under 23 team, and he was like, if you're not going to live in Jamaica or whatever, that was the story that was going around that he won't want to live in Jamaica. Queens Park Rangers will be his bread and butter. You understand? You don't know anytime. The JFF can say, hey, Paula, think of the time, your time over. You understand? But yeah, I think yeah, Nitro, you have some comment that yeah,
Yo,
I would agree with you. Yeah, man. Daniel.
yeah, no, I was gonna say something before I should. Um, I know King was speaking on his agent and stuff, and in a very sarcastic way. But I was gonna say, what level Maggie is at right now for demands a contract in Europe, because players get he's not a youngster no more. He's a full international player. He's been playing. He's very experienced now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going, if agents say that he's getting this player a contract in Genk or Europe or whatever, what level is he at? What level? Like what prove that he is agent gonna sell to these clubs that, hey, my player is this, my player I've scored over 20 goals last season.
Huh?
Look at these videos. No, I'm just no. I'm just saying hypothetical, like, what are they gonna sell to these clubs for this player? Because this contract
over
and this
15
move,
games and no goals for the Reggae Boyz.
this contract does not make no sense. I just don't see the contract.
Yeah.
I don't see it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my take.
Well,
I think this one, King. As I said, we're going to answer some comments, then we close out. But say last piece that we run through the comments and close out.
Me?
No, King. King was going to say something about that.
well, the last and that. Yeah, so taking a look at the last game where Ravel actually played, it was under Al Grimson. So I think this is what. Yes, the last game in play was under Al Grimson, him and Daniel Johnson midfield, Bobby Reid, Lowe, Bailey, Nichols. So yeah, and Tariq Magee, I can only assume that the agency, the sports agency that is at Phoenix Management would have already thought this through. I guess for them, Butler came out and said his aim was to use Magee to win the league. That didn't materialize, so it must have like what would have happened next. I guess him selling points probably still include him being a winner of the USL. So him probably say if he's negotiating right now, it's gonna be saying that this is my player that has won the USL. Him no need for say this is my player that got relegated from here. That is up to you as the buyer for know that for yourself. So him still have selling points there. So I guess I say a seller player. You highlight them what they have accomplished, but not necessarily them low points. So in terms of selling, I think there still is enough. And I guess enough videos that are there. I guess him have some assists, some goals, and some footage to show from the Premier League as well. So you can find enough good points, in my opinion.
My thoughts on Russell at number 10. I think the way we play, I don't think it will suit him because Reggae Boyz, we have less ball that come in the box. We don't really play fluent football through the middle. Our number 10 sometimes missing from games. We will never play to Russell's strength. So I don't think I would love to see it, but we don't play to his strength. Look at his team. His team play to his strength. They look for him at times. The late running in the box. We don't get down the byline and pull back ball. Like Daniel, the Frankie Lampard or Chelsea to play, whip back the ball on the edge of the 18. You know that he will be popping somewhere to get that, to get that shot towards goal. We can pop in with an extra goal. I don't think we play like that, but I mean, it will be grateful. I would say I'll be excited to see John Russell in number 10, but who will play in at 8? I think he's just that box to box at this moment that will bring his extra energy, his physicality, in the midfield and his aerial presence in two box. I think he'll more like will be like a center for us as like an NBA player. Will be very vital in both boxes, both offensive and defensive. The RR said JFF need a new scouting team, period. I agree with you because the players that are available, some very young players that's coming through have potential. We say the potential of those players that can get into a bottom of Premier League team, they are not really pushing out like you're not seeing them going out for those players. You understand? So I just think younger players, we should have at least have a way of how we recruit that, look at this age group. We need an age group for this position. You need an age group for that. If we need a number 9 that want to put the ball in the back of it immediately, say looking at somebody between 25 and 32, that someone going to come in and just do a smash and grab and leave. You understand? So recruitment system. Ravel and Magee is in the midfield at the same time. Y'all might as well call our midfield 9:53 a.m. in the morning. Absolutely no traffic. Hey, I can tell you, Ralph Smith, you're driving on the I-95 3 a.m. You're running like probably Georgia, maybe like Tennessee. You will have traffic. In my experience, and I don't know where on the I-95 you travel, but you definitely have some traffic somewhere on the I-95 moving out of state to state. Want to watch too much schoolboy football ball game that can't compare to big man game, much less professional. Magee not good. I wouldn't really just say he's not really good, but I mean that's your opinion, and I agree with it. But yeah, man.
And people blessed upon themselves, see you again next week. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
bless up, bless up. Me just run through the comments and then getting close out. 1 second, King. Yeah. So I try run through some comments and then we can close out. And if you want to add to it, you know, trying to find back that comment. Yeah, but Mothersill must be playing the number 10. No, I agree. You agree with that, King? Mothersill must be playing it like youthfulness, different type of player, different type of number 10. Not the traditional number 10 that we used to, but someone that used to hold the modern game is playing now.
And in regards to Mothersill, may I be honest, I want to see some more of him before me determine that, because I know he's flexible and he can play in a few positions, but I still don't know which position I see him best play. And
Yeah.
honestly, I've just watched him in highlights, so I'm still yet to see which part he gonna play best. So as a number 10 again, hopefully he can play this Unity Cup and we can judge that. So more so the whole of them. So every man supposed to fight for them spot. Every man supposed to really show which
I
part
think,
them
yeah.
best
No,
position.
continue. Yeah. I think I talked about a few Arsenal players one time on the morning inside some young players. I think one of them, I talk about a few of them, but two of them I think play for Arsenal or come to the academy. I think there's still at Arsenal, and another one that I think named Casanova, a defender that play for Tottenham Hotspur. But you see again, young players that I think one of them, I think his name is Kane Edwards. He played, I think he get called up for some under 23 team already, So a player that really have good potential that, can really go far. We can't just wait for the player them to reach to a Premier League club. Sometimes if we go into the academy and find them as well, But I just think we're just too rich and spoil of picking heritage players. If Jamaica call back Ravel and Magee, Jamaica have no football ambition. Hey, I can't agree to, because at this stage of the point, 2025, we still I talk about the number 10 position, and we still have to talk about Ravel and Tariq Magee. That's how bad it is. And some blame have to go upon the federation as well, and the people that who's doing the scouting. The league level thought don't make no sense. It depends. I can understand it depend, because Luton Fire. What if a player is playing in a rubbish league, like you go in a like Jamaica, I would say like below a major league, one of them major league they were there in a like St. Mary, Westmoreland or Portland. Would you want to pick a player from there? You would really want to pick a player from there. You understand? But I can understand where you're coming from. The league level don't make no sense. Actually, like look at Ravel now as an example. As I said, his team is a professional setup. He have everything in his locker to be at the level where he should be when he's going to represent the Reggae Boy team. There's no way. Reggae is a good player, but Bell is better. But who is probably playing it more confident? You understand? But it's not a big margin. It's not a big margin. It's very close. It's very close between them, because Bell have the edge when you talk about a couple of years ago, have the edge over Amari Bell. But if you look at how Amari Bell been playing a left center half, I think that kind of damage and how he loved to play, because he was a left back that liked to bomb forward. But when you look at it, he kind of look handicapped at this moment when he played for Luton Town a few times in the left back, in the left wing back. And it's like he couldn't go up and down the pitch. He lost that little bit of edge, and it's probably down to the team, probably down to not playing in that position regularly. So it's different factors. Lewis Baker has played the 10 this season for Stoke since January and scored 6 goals and 2 assists. I agree. Most of that is something well at Blackburn Rovers for the coach to call him back. Then I think the coach like him, and I think he played in the number 10. But again, he's that player that Louis Baker? Is he a 6? Is he a 8? Is he a 10?
So
Good quality. He would have what you was say?
yeah, and Louis Baker is one of the names them where Moda definitely take a look at in the Unity Cup. For me, I'm happy that he doesn't have playoffs. I'm happy that he didn't get relegated. So that should be a player where we should take a look at in this Unity
Definitely.
Cup.
Definitely.
And again, for me, you can see it clear. You can see that I don't know if it was the goals them that he scored prior to being put in that number 10 spot.
Yeah.
That's why he was placed there, because I think the coach saw that, oh, there's a player with goals in him, and then you can see that he literally got pushed up to play as a number 10. So
Yeah.
for me, I think in terms of the season that has just finished, in terms of
Yeah.
the championship, League One, I don't really like to look at League Two, but in terms of championship and League One, even Premier League, in terms of the English, where they call it now?
Championship?
EFL.
EFL. Yeah, EFL. The EFL. So Championship, League One.
And Premier League. So in terms
And
of
Premier
Premier
League.
League Championship and League One, that's where I look for players at in the diaspora. In terms of Championship, Premier League Championship and League One, I think Louis Baker, in terms of the latter part of the season, I think he had a really strong season, probably the best in terms of midfielders, in terms of consistency, especially for the latter part of the season, because it would have been Louis Baker, it would have been off the top of my head, it would have been Bobby Reed, the KC Palmer, who else in terms of midfielders? You would have
John Russell, Kira Anderson.
Yeah, and if you really put all of them together, you'd have
and Boaty man, man will play Boaty. Lati.
And Lati. So
yeah,
in terms of all of them, really and truly, Baker would be. I would say Baker had the strongest season in terms of even numbers wise, goal scoring. So definitely would have been probably in terms of the number 10 that we are talking about, in terms of because we're there and we talk about Ravel, we talk about
I think Louis
Magee.
Baker, John Russell, and Isaac Hayden would be a powerful midfield if the coach can get the best out of them, because out of John and Isaac, Isaac is more of the simple player that keep the ball ticking, keep it moving. John Russell is the one that bring the drive and that physical presence in that midfield. And then Louis Baker, the one that would have bring the pass course, the vision of the 50-yard pass. You understand? So it would be a very dynamic midfield.
Yeah, I really love that midfield. I've never thought about it before now, but that sounds like a good balance, a well-balanced, well-complemented midfield. So I would want to see that. I'm all for that.
Do we have any set piece taker? Do we have any set piece taker on the team?
Set piece taker, I think so.
That's someone that hit the point on a regular basis.
Isn't Baker a set piece taker for his team?
Yes,
though?
that's why I asked you, because
see there.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, because Baker is very good at set piece. I think he's more consistent than any other player in the squad at this moment that can deliver proper corner, because time and time we see Demi and Leon Bailey hit the near post, first man, ball gone out. One ball fair drop in the box. We need to see the team, because when you listen to other coaches talk about the Reggae Boyz, they talk about the physicality, they talk about the height, they talk about the strength. Do we use that up a lot? Look at Arsenal. They use that as the advantage. They use that as a weapon. If we can go into this World Cup qualifier and score 4 goals from the set piece, from a corner or anything, Nanalo is a great one. If you look at Nanalo, Ethan Pinnock, you would have John Russell, you'd have Isaac Hayden as a man, and then you'd have a number 9. That's around 5 to 6 players that really good in the air, can really attack the ball. Look at the ball that Nanalo scored against US in the World Cup. He skip around the player and get him in front in the near post to get that ball, so we could go one up versus the US. So we need to use set piece as a weapon. Luton, I say, bala. Anyway, check every squad that played World Cup. You will see countries using players who don't have contract. No, I mean, I'm not saying players that don't have any contract shouldn't represent the team, but I'm just saying there should be a level of where you look at and say, hey, like Ravel, like star players are star players, King. They will always get first preference. But if you look at the Ravel and I said, playing in UAE third tier for one season, and say, hey, coach, I'm just going to play there for one season, get back my match fitness up, and then I will move to a higher league. We can't argue that. We can't argue that. If that's his decision, that's he sees best pathway for his future. That 12 month, we can't argue that. But for me, Ravel cannot continue to play in that league. He needs to move higher. He even go to the next step, go higher in that country. You understand? Every day, they are talk about Magee, how much time want. Chacha, Father Bling, Chacha. Yep. Remember Greg scored the end of the fast goal versus US Nations League. Yep, I remember that. That's the thing. Greg Lee had goals as much as he him get himself in that final third. It's like there's something about him and the final third where you don't really get much of Amari Bell. Like, all right, say that goal that he scored against Guatemala, position like that, you look at Greg Lee doing for his club team, he get in those positions more and more often. But again, what both players do for the Reggae Boys, that's what matters. Magee, starts for the national team. I think Magee played like between 15 and 20 games for the national team and 0 goals. I think Jamaica Ballers and decline season. Trust me, it's rapid. It's rapid. Yeah, I remember he really looks good playing that system. I think Rav better than all we have known before. And that's why I was still talking about him, Singer. That's why I was still talking about him because he's better than any. Rafael is like when Paul Pogba went to United don't really have that player. When Paul is coming from the Pirlo, the Marquisio, the Vidal, players like that coming from a midfield like that where it free him up. I don't think he ever have that experienced player behind him who understand of playing that quality level where it can just trigger his attribute, where it can just complement his game, so he could move forward and think about less defensive work rather than, just know that, hey, you need to focus on create something for the national team. And I just don't think number 8 really suit Ravel. I think Ravel playing with a solid player, like a midfield going to a World Cup game, King. Ravel, Luis, Isaac, Jonathan Russell, I have to call them because they will get picked because they play at a very decent level and the coach will pick them, Casey and Bobby Reed. But Casey now is falling down the pecking order where at any given time you can look at that he will not be maybe 1 and 2 Reggae Boy squad going forward. You understand? If we call Ravel and not Juna Fleming, who is playing in the first division in that country, it says all we need to know about our ambition. Hey, look, trust me, when you call Juna Fleming's name, I can't disagree with you because he have done some really good work, playing at the club level. But I want Junior Flemings and them friend them keep up with Tapa Whitmore, hold up the national team hostage. Then when Jamaica start getting all money, that's what Ravel spent too much time playing in Wayne Rooney teams. Rooney makes every team and player looks ordinary. But what do you say that team that he coach? I think Mason Mount was in that team that Ravel was in. I remember, but he have some really good quality, some young players in that Derby County team that was playing in the championship. I think that was the best period of Wayne Rooney career in coaching, if you ask me, and maybe the first 6 months of DC United tenure. Next deadbeat player Ravel, a mad take son. Ravel, what about Russell, Ellis, and others? I keep asking this question. Who is that midfielder like a player like Warner Brown in a JPL? Who is that midfielder that we can say can make that transition? Like, we know Warner Brown have the quality, bro. You never need to see Warner Brown versus St. Vincent. When you watch the player and you have an eye for talent, that this boy only needs an opportunity going forward. But I don't know if the Ellis at Racing, I don't know if he's on that level. I'm not sure. I don't really see much of him, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I don't see much of him. The few times I see, Ellis, you could see that the raw potential quality is there, but I don't know, man. You have any option, King? Who you think will be that midfield and the JP that can make that next step up?
So it has to be Nikhil Ellis, in my opinion, as well. I know that very inexperienced in terms of him being young. So him at the name where come.
So he's a natural 10.
To me, I think him have everything so far. What I see so far, him body of work this season speak for itself. So you can see him score goals, him drive forward, him have a eye for a pass, and him young. So him have some developing to do in terms of even in the league. You can see that. Yeah, I'm first real breakout season, but him off the top of my head, nobody else me can think about off the top of my head in terms of a number 10 of the league. So him are the only name off the top of my head right now. I'm thinking about. I'm struggle to think of a next name in the league as a number 10. Really struggling right now.
Really struggling.
Yeah, really. So I just do it. I'm care. But none of them now jump out to me as a number.
Real ball. I don't think Magee just get cut. What you talk about, Speedy Williams. That's a Speedy Williams get cut as well. Someone that was at the club since 2021. Played loads of games. It's what the club want. Speedy Williams, one of the most consistent Reggae Boyz players, have been some of the most consistent players. Yeah, we have some very consistent players in the USL. Junior Flemings was one. Kevin Lambert, if you take away this season right now, he's having, I think this is one of the worst season since he had trying to put that team after the Gold Cup, leaving MBU. Speedy Williams have been one of the most consistent player in the USL in his position as well. Nico Brett, I think Dale, even Nico Brett, one of the top scorer, in the USL as well. So we have some quality players some players that have done really well, that are very consistent, basic, and those players jump from team to team. We still have Kenada Fabs, a former Hortos player, I jump from team to team, same way, But hello, I'm from Iraq. Whoa, salam alaikum salam, my brother. Say good and pink horse when Portmore play. How are this game?
You say say good and pink house when. Yeah, real thing. So that me talk about. So that me talk about when in the goal, me see Kiara drive past. So yeah, me see good and pink house.
It's not the answer. Please don't even call Magee name either. Waste of time. The facility is putting lipstick on a pig. It's still not lady. It's a big, great facility, but still a bush league. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a great facility, but that's all I say. He's in a great space where him body, him physicality should be there. You understand?
But the level of competition,
competitiveness,
yeah, we don't know about that. So
McLaren not looking on anyone. Period, bro. Seriously, King. I feel McLaren, bro. When that man is a con artist, brother. Bro, seriously, King. I feel that man just look on time and wise code. I never seen McLaren. I watch League One, I watch Championship, and every time when you watch English football, there's a coach or a prominent one in the stands, the camera go upon him. I have never seen it before.
So for the man wearing pullover and glasses and cap on the eye and undercover.
Bro, all that man just stay in a Yorkshire taking big fat paycheck a month time, brother. Me not trust McLaren on the scouting, brother. Me just think he might work off a word amount, brother. Me not know, brother.
Scouting for Jamaican, for all players, you think? For all players, you not trust him for scouting with?
No, me not think him have that drive. You understand? Just like how you have a young art. Say, we have a young coach like Miguel Coley that come and a coach team. Miguel Coley would have that drive of no I want to know the players. You understand? Bro, different countries, coaches are travel around to meet players. I remember when DR were trying to get, Mariana Diaz, the Real Madrid, ex-Real Madrid player, before we played him. Bro, they went to Spain at his house like 5 times for the year alone just to persuade him to come and play against Reggae Boyz, but it didn't happen. But that's what I'm talking about. You have the Honduran player, the staffs and the coach and the administration, they flew out a few times to persuade a young player in Germany to get a Honduran passport. So that's something I said. We don't know if I know our players them locally based in England, but look at the players we have players playing as far as Azerbaijan. That I think I don't know if he's still there. Kaim Paris, that's his name. As far as Azerbaijan, bro, that's far, far in Europe. You understand? So I don't know if you have the drive and the willingness to learn, bro. Watch video clip on internet. Sometimes you need a lot more than that, brother. Sometimes you need to go and sit down and watch the player after ball and look what him can bring. Firmino, great example. Firmino scored a goal for Liverpool, no, but Wayne bring and create the space for Sadio and Salah and for the midfielders to run behind him. You can't really see that on TV, brother. So if we have a player like Firmino that can get the best and bring that link with the two wingers, with Leon Bailey and Demar Gray, so I don't know. That brother attack against Ravel, I think Daniel fire attack. There are other plays out there he needs to look at. There's players out there. I think there's players out there that can get into the team. Saudi league is actually competitive. It is English fans that key. Yeah, I think the English fans have a thing about the Saudi league, but why are you doing a podcast discussion about Jamaican then choose to black comments unnecessarily? You are thin skin. Like nobody black, like real, we not black anything, we not black comment. Like me don't know if somebody do it, me not black nobody, bro. Gang but let's say he's supposed to me not black comment over here, bro. The caller guys like up the place, people. My mother sounded for like up the things, like up the channel. What I'm doing, man? My mother sounded for like up the video, people. Our ambition is really low. People, so we're gonna touch out right now. Why request to calm down? What did I type like outer line? Bro, because I think maybe I try to type something that YouTube have a guideline that I put something that you can't really type any disrespectful thing. I don't know. There's something that you can turn on YouTube that you can't say certain things and you have to be respectful. JFF the man don't. Miran Garden should not be. Yeah, bro. Miran Garden need to lift up, brother. Tell you the truth, brother. Miran Garden need to lift up. Ravel playing and enjoying his football now in his league better than our semi-pro. Chacha. Them facilitated a bit. JPL man, they're ready for reach them facilitated, brother. Lewis Baker would be. It really was better with set piece when he was in Grammy. Probably yeah, but I think Bailey just hit the man at the near post too much. Them are started off good, but boy, I don't know. The story around Reggae Boy football, the players them king and fall off and decline. Them thing they make it hurt you, brother. Swear, bro. But people, look, really, really I forgot, next up is on Ball Pre TV. You understand? That's the next live going to turn on the space. So, the money must go over there and just support Ball Pre TV as you understand. So the next live will turn on Ball Pre TV immediately with immediate effect. What time, King? Immediate effect. Bro, 9:15 Jamaica time. Yep, on mute.
Oh, so yeah, make us start the show right now, actually. So we're going right over there, people, but you don't know.
Yeah.
As usual,
Yeah.
like up the show first. I don't even know how much people there, but I like up the show as usual. Nicola, this Nick and Dan podcast. You don't know.
Yeah.
Legendary, my brother, give thanks. But yeah, we are going right over there now. The show
Yeah,
actually scheduled.
Jason Jaja, late bro. We have a long discussion, Just watch back watch from I think we really start talk about the discussion about Reggae Boy segment around an hour into the show. That's when it really, the discussion really started. I think like from minute 1 to around minute 30, talk about some European football, but from our mark until the show and really go into some very good discussion as well. So King, that's the next live coming up, people. You understand? That's the next live coming up. But
Yeah.
look,
But we have to talk about, as somebody say, love the unity. People are
yeah,
this, the energy, and me and Nicaragua we talk off here a lot. Is, I mean, in terms of the energy, right? And I just that the unity is a must, people. You get me? I say unity is a must. We as black people, something we're not good at, but
yeah,
when the energy right, we have to each one have to build each one. You get me? I say people so.
yeah.
And me is a huge fan of Nicaragua Media House. Personally, as I say, I tell you, the morning insider, refreshing. You get me? I say, when I get one morning inside, I come like the newspaper when we grew up. It is, me
Yeah.
have to get the newspaper. So we grew up.
Catch it in your back pocket. After you done read it.
Yo, but from the days when, well, me not remember still, probably a TV, me remember them something upon when the newspaper man used to forward and show the newspaper over your yard. I don't think those were my days, but remember, I can't remember we used to get newspaper, but I know so. But remember, you have to get a newspaper.
In mind, when I grew up on Maxfield, he used to have a guy that ride a bicycle coming from Whitfield post office. When the man there come to, man, whoop.
Yeah, man. I think I just can't remember it well.
Yeah, man, he used to have a man ride bicycle, man, from Whitfield post office. When the man come through, man, letter and mail and shoot, go over your yard. I understand. Yeah, but people, big up on yourself, I forgot. So King at the next engine, we are going to turn on in the space. That's all we are doing. You understand? Bless up on yourself, really appreciate everybody that's passed through. See you guys another Sunday again as the club league is winding down and actually players are getting relegated. Players are walking out of contract. So the summer is going to be a big summer. For the Reggae Boy players. You understand? So hopefully we'll see some new face for the Unity Cup. Hopefully we'll see some quality player to the World Cup qualifying squad and add to that with the Gold Cup. Gold Cup King. More go that Gold Cup final. I mean the business where the man them want to say, yo, Gold Cup another priority. Me understand that, but I think if the players them go, I think a Gold Cup final due. I think that will give the player them the confidence going into the World Cup qualifier. That will be weeks after the Gold Cup finish. You understand? We want to go that Gold Cup final, brother.
Yeah, we really need to go there. But my only concern is that the language of the coach I use is that the focus is qualifying for the World Cup. So I don't think the pressure is there to really go to the Gold Cup finals, and that kind of lower my expectation when I think about it like that. You see me? When I think about it like that,
I'm going to say
the pressure is there.
There's talking people. I'm going to say it. No, I never really want to say it, but Mexico, there's a possibility, and it's building up in their country now that players might not be at this Gold Cup. You understand? Because there's some issue within the federation that it's trying to keep on a low, and then you have players that can potentially get into the Club World Cup as a couple of US players might be in it. So potentially, as of now, there's some little rip shana going right now in the Mexico Federation with some key players of moving forward in the Gold Cup. So the players them are bargaining for some Mexican peso, which the Mexican Federation are trying to hold them to ground. But I think this will solve because in Mexico, the players are the power. Those players know to use their power more than how you see the party shop business broke out the other day with Damian Lowe and Dalton Wynn. You understand? So that I will keep you posted on that, King, and let you know what's going on. But potentially at this moment, there's some key players might not be in that Mexico team. And we saw Thomas Christiansen said there potentially might be a B team that start in the Gold Cup. I'm not sure because he don't want to overload the players because he need to go to the next World Cup. That's the word that's coming out for those two teams. So Reggae Boyz must take this serious. But people, I'm out. Bless upon yourself. Thanks for watching. See you guys Sunday again. I can't run through every comment. Come over, King, and then King will chop it up.